pretend. It's in his head, it's in his head. He wishes he could fix what's in his head, what's in his head. He breaks his heart in every dream where they both kiss underneath the sheets. What a beautiful dream, oh, and he plays pretend. It's in his head, it's in his head. He wishes he could fix what's in his head, what's in his head. He breaks his heart in every dream where they both kiss underneath the sheets. What a beautiful dream. And he plays pretend. It's in his head, it's in his head. He wishes he could fix what's in his head, what's in his head. He breaks his heart in every dream where they both kiss underneath the sheets. What a beautiful dream.
part of the stream where the currents flow. There's a red-haired captain with a radiant glow. Riverboat Jack with her eyes so bright navigates the waters, chasing dreams in the night. She talks of games and battles won, and fights for rights until they're won. With her partner by her side, they sail the waves they won't abide. Get in the riverboat, hear her laughter sway with every note.
He called himself a hillbilly, wrote an elegy. His problem and his trouble is he went back and he doubled down on the fascism and the lies, and then he made a fatal crime. Couch fucker, what's your deal? J.D. Vance is cut by Peter Thiel. Couch fucker, why must he lie? We must stop Project 2025. But in 2005 he wrote back then only one time. I felt femininely when I saw that movie about New Jersey. I don't know what's wrong with me, but must deny. And that's when J.D. Vance said he wants trans people to go down. Couch fucker, what's your deal? J.D. Vance is cut by Peter Thiel. Couch fucker, why must he lie? We must stop Project 2025. At the RNC, he felt maybe I'll be free if I take up on this task, being Megastarting grass to take over the country. I think J.D. Vance needs a swirly. Couch fucker, what's your deal? J.D. Vance is cut by Peter Thiel. Couch fucker, why must he lie? We must stop Project 2025. Couch fucker, what's your deal? J.D. Vance is cut by Peter Thiel. Couch fucker, why must he lie? We must stop Project 2025.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? I almost turned this up around my Magarumi. I need better timing. Kiwi Burb. Honestly, as we get closer to the election, I'd say go for it. And if you can afford to lose a roommate. How goes it? It goes well. It's my partner's birthday. So I've been running around getting stuff ready, and I'm doing an early stream because I'm probably going to not be streaming later today. So you guys get me early. Ran and got donuts this morning. I have a bunch of black beans simmering, simmering down. Making her a fancy dinner. I am making her a gourmet version of a Chipotle bowl. So kind of fancy. Like I have a really good marinated chicken going right now. I've got like a really nice black bean recipe. I've got I've got like this special rice that I'm cooking. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be good. I made like a tomatillo salsa from scratch. It's good. It's good stuff. The Ditto Jumper, I got this from Black Milk. And honestly, with the amount of recommendations that I give for Black Milk, you guys should sponsor me. Going to a birthday thing as well in a few hours. Nice. Happy birthday to your friend. Want to try my hand at making barbacoa? Ooh, yeah, me too. Hello, Rhombus. Hello, Eddie Spencer. Hello, Preston Morton. Hello, Kiwi Burb. Hello, VCC TV. Hello, Mr. Miyagi. Hello, Periwinkle. Hello, Trains and Bullshit. Hello, Dragonfly. Catalina Gearbox. Mathathiahu. PC Schwarz. Fenry. Hello, Gamer G. Hello, everybody. Hello, Chai T-Rex. Now I'm hungry. I'm sorry. I did make 8 pounds of chicken though, so I don't know if anyone wants some. Hopefully the partner loves it. I don't want to brag today about what I got from my partner, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty good like collection of chicken and presents. Can you guys tell I'm still tired? All right. You and your partner's birthdays are within a week of each other? Yeah, it makes it makes things interesting. All right. Well, folks, of course, since we're just getting started, hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the like button on YouTube, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Get out there, press the buttons that you know are going to help stream. Share the stream with your friends, your loved ones, your pets, even your enemies. And let's bring some more folk in, okay? You know, we need to go, you know, like, why are you not streaming? Why are you not streaming this to everyone that you know? You know, like, share it on social media. Like, what are you, a liberal?
What are you, a fucking liberal? What? Whoa!
We've got to do as much socialism as possible. Hey, Ms. Milena, how you doing? Sounds nice, I agree. Currently hacking Times Square to stream it there. Good! More white hat operations. What if we started a pirate TV station and beamed the stream to space? I think that would be cool. I have no idea what that means or the logistics involved, but if you want to do that, go for it. All right, folks. Now, yesterday we got through Kamala Harris. We're covering the DNC because I was gone last week. And we got through a few speeches, including Kamala Harris's speech, and we're going to we're gonna like go into kind of the other side of the coin today, because you know, we were at 4 o'clock in the morning and I needed to stop streaming because you guys get 7-hour streams out of me, and that's a lot. Okay. I always love how the peepos walk off together after the hug. Me too. Tell the person wanting to make barbacoa to use a slow cooker. Oh yeah, slow cookers are like the ultimate cooking hack, guys. Like, I know you might, if you've never used one before, it might be a little intimidating, but like, slow cookers are honestly incredible. You just throw whatever you want cooked in there, hit a button, and then wait like 4 hours, and you have a perfectly like created meal. It's great. Socialism, like everyone has good health care, like Congress has. Yes, like that. And worker ownership of the means of production. But you know, I know a lot of people that they're like, socialism? You mean universal health care? I'm like, kind of. That's like 1/8 of it. The other 7/8 is worker ownership. All right.
Socialism is when the government does stuff.
And also when workers own the means of production. There we go. Nailed it. More of Vance's weirdness has resurfaced. Can it really resurface if he's just weird wherever he goes? You know, like, is he really, is it really resurfacing if just by looking at him interacting with another human being for all of 5 seconds, you can tell exactly how foul his vibes are. If people don't have one, then get an Instant Pot. They can be used as one, and then you get an air fryer attachment. So handy. True! Also, Draconics, thank you for watching the last 10 streams. Let's go! Also, yes, Kiwi Bird, this is, in fact, one of the best monsters. I would say the best monster is the Green Tea Lemonade Monster Refresh in the yellow can, but this is, like, if you're gonna go for, like, a sugary monster, the Aussie Lemonade flavor is the best. That's right, Monster. I'm still waiting for your sponsorship money that you never agreed to send me. But you should, with how much I rep your product. I know what you mean, PC Schwartz. I'm aware. So who's ahead in the weirdness factor, JD or RFK? Oh, hands down, it's RFK Jr. JD Vance is just like an antisocial, like, loser goon who's willing to sell out anyone up to and including his own family for money. RFK Jr. is just a deranged lunatic, you know, like, and his derangedness has actually gotten people killed, which, you know, for a lot of the faults you can level at JD Vance, like, you can't draw a direct line between him and, like, killing children. Like, you can like, maybe via indirect means do that, but with RFK Jr., like, he literally directly led to the deaths of children in American Samoa. Yeah, Kiwi Bird, the Monster Rehab is like really what's allowed me to, like, reduce my energy drink intake, which is good. Yeah, I don't think there's any coming back from the weirdness of beheading a whale in front of your children. I'm sorry, what now? Oh, yeah, Gamer G, RFK Jr. took a chainsaw and beheaded a beached whale in front of his kids, and then strapped it to the top of his car and drove home with it, while, like, whale juice leaked into the interior of his car. So, like, I don't really know that there's any topping that. Talking about the dead children. Oh yeah, RFK Jr. directly lobbied American Samoa to adopt anti-vax positions and basically convince them to stop vaccinating children for preventable illnesses. And that directly led to, like, the deaths of, like, almost 100 kids. Cool stuff. Great candidate. Actually saw an RFK Shanahan sign in the wild yesterday. Oh god, that's weird. That's cursed. I hate anti-vaxxers so much. Yeah, they're pretty bad, you know? This is why, like, I know that, like, some people get a little rankled when I talk about, like crystal mommy stuff and how that can, like, be a pipeline into the alt-right, but, like, I feel like anti-vax is kind of like one of the clearest examples you can get of exactly what I mean. Like, you get people hooked on the death cult, and the anti-vax rhetoric is all related to, like, government cover-up and conspiracy, and then you just get sucked into all of the other conspiracies, you know? It's the conspiracy singularity, man. Have I watched the Folding Ideas video in search of a flat Earth? Yes, I would put that video in my top 10 YouTube videos of all time. Or maybe not top 10 YouTube videos, but at least top 10 like video essays of all time. It is so good, and it is extremely exactly what I'm talking about. Like how conspiracism isolates people, and in that isolation, the only other accessible social groups for conspiracy theorists are other conspiracy theorists. And so your social circle winds up consisting entirely of people detached from reality in different ways, but the through line through all of those detached realities is bigotry towards gay people, trans people, predominantly bigotry towards Jewish people, racism, etc. Like, it is like, if you want a very, very clear idea of what I talk about when I'm talking about the conspiracy singularity, that is a fantastic place to start. Because it paints a very clear line from, haha, that's such a silly idea, flat earth, teehee, to, oh wait, this is onboarding people into literal Nazi cults. Okay. Cool. Cool. You're gonna have to watch that? Absolutely. It's also just one of the best produced videos of all time. Like, Dan from Folding Ideas is an absolute legend. All right. Let's get into this Zeteo, because I do have a limited amount of time here. It's 2 o'clock. I have to leave maybe around like 4:30, 4:45, maybe even 5 o'clock if I'm really pushing it. But like, that's about as late as I want to go. So, folks, what are we talking about today?
That simple.
Oh, God. All right. Get started, shall we? So, there was an event last week called the Day N Say. Apparently, a bunch of these really big shot Democrats went out there, and you know, a lot of them seem to not really focus on one of the big elephants in the room, which is how Democrats have been treating the Gaza issue, or the Palestinian question, maybe, is another way of phrasing that. Which is that they have just been deafeningly silent, or making very milquetoast statements about, oh yes, we want peace everywhere. We want peace everywhere. You know, kind of statements that don't ultimately mean anything except for like virtue signaling. And well, here is how simple it can be to actually just put out a statement that says, hey, we need a ceasefire. Here's the thing we do to like make that happen. We want this outcome. Here is the action we can take to affect that outcome. And it is made in approximately 5 seconds by one Ilhan Omar.
So if you really wanted a ceasefire, you just stop sending the weapons. It is that simple. So if
Yeah. Like, you want a ceasefire? Then stop sending the 5-ton munitions, the half-ton munitions that are being used to blow up tents of refugees. It's really that simple. But unfortunately, instead, the DNC decided to really embrace an unarticulated policy of, we're not going to have any Palestinians on the stage. And that seems incredibly weird to me. Like, to me, it comes across as like having a policy of, oh yeah, we accept everyone here at the DNC, except we're not going to allow those Swedes on the stage. Those filthy Swedes are going to say something inconvenient to us, so we aren't going to allow them to speak. Like, do you guys understand how, like, insane that sounds? Do you guys understand how, like, high-key bigoted it sounds? Oh, we're not going to allow any Mexicans to speak at the DNC this year. If you had that articulated policy, everyone would be like, that seems hella racist. You're not going to allow Mexicans to speak? Why? You would, every journalist for miles around, for months, would ask, hey, why weren't you allowing Mexicans to speak on the stage? Instead, it's just kind of like a shrug. It's like, oh yeah, of course. Palestinians are different. They're different. It seems racist because it is racist. Ding, ding, ding. You did it.
Perfect.
You got it. And this policy, which took a lot of people by surprise, including the Uncommitted movement, which, as many of you know, the Uncommitted movement was a surprisingly successful leftist organization that organized around voting uncommitted in primaries in order to send a message to the Democratic Party that, like, hey, people aren't going to turn out for you in the general if you keep doing nothing about the issue of Palestine, the issue of Gaza. And, well, this was how the Uncommitted movement responded to how the DNC treated them.
These past 10 months have been...
It's literally Palestinian folks mourning on the floor of the DNC, okay? Like, people who have lost family members, friends in Gaza, in tears at the DNC because they don't even get a voice on the stage. Republicans got voices on the stage of the Democratic National Convention. Republicans got invited to speak. But not Democratic representatives or Democratic officials in the party who are going to vote for Kamala Harris, who happen to be Palestinian. It is insane. Like, can I just say, when Wolf Blitzer on CNN is out there saying, hey, this seems kind of weird that you guys aren't allowing Palestinians to speak. What's up with that? Like, when you have Wolf Blitzer on CNN asking that question, you've royally screwed the pooch. Okay?
At this convention, as you know, what a leader of the so-called Uncommitted movement said today after they were denied a speaking slot for a Palestinian American. Watch this and then we'll discuss.
My guest told me that the Democratic Party provided me and my community a voice at the table. And what has happened here at the Democratic National Convention undid all of that. I was just told that I don't have a voice here in this party.
You heard what she said. Is this going to potentially hurt Kamala Harris in a state like Michigan, which has a significant Arab American, Muslim American population?
Well, look, the vice president's proud to have engaged with the leadership of this movement, including in Michigan just a little while ago when she was visiting the battleground state there. They have a right to have their voice heard, and we've been proud in this convention to engage them through dedicated conversations and meetings and everything. But I think the really important thing to think about, too, is what is the vice president doing about it? She's working with President Biden, even in the middle of the political...
Yeah, we talked with them, and we felt that we gave them enough of a voice by not allowing them to speak.
Fanfare of a convention to try to get to a deal, to try to end the war, to try to get to a permanent ceasefire, to try to protect the people who are suffering and who need humanitarian assistance, and to, of course, make sure Israel has a right to defend themselves. That is what she's focused on, and that is so different from what we could see from President Trump, who, when he was in the White House, all he did was foster chaos and division around the world, kiss up to dictators, abandon our allies. These are things that we can't afford to go back to. And so when it comes to tonight, when she'll speak to the country, she'll talk about the kind of global leadership that she would bring to the White House, including on the war in the Middle East.
So why?
This bald white man is one of Kamala Harris's senior advisors.
Why was a Palestinian American denied a speaking slot tonight?
Well, I think that we've given them a lot of opportunities to engage in this process at the convention. People have had dedicated...
Oh, why were they denied a speaking slot, though? Says the undeterred Wolf Blitzer's like, oh, but why aren't you giving a speaking slot to a Palestinian? Do you know how badly you have to fuck up for Wolf Blitzer to hold your feet to the fire like this? This is basically him pulling a gun. That's the equivalent, okay? Wolf Blitzer is tussling, okay?
Panels, for example, during the daytime programming here at the convention to talk about these issues. We're, of course, continuing to engage with the group and make sure that, that the vice president's position on this issue is heard and that their voices are heard and reflected in our convention.
Ian Sams, thanks very much for joining us.
So, this guy just lied. Like, this is what is called lying. And also fundamentally not answering the question. Well, we feel that we offered them enough. Well, clearly you didn't, and you're like putting cops, like Republican cops, on stage to like talk about Kamala Harris. You can't give one of your own Democrat supporters who is Palestinian some time to speak. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, the thing that got them more media attention than anything was staging their sit-in protest. So, I just want to say, hey guys, let's give the uncommitted leadership their due. Let's give them their time, okay? And thank God for Zeteo and Mehdi Hassan, who is they're doing incredible work, okay? And Mehdi Hassan sat down at a round table with the chair and co-chair of Uncommitted, as well as one of the Uncommitted representatives who's Palestinian, who was going to speak at the DNC and then was denied a speaking spot.
Are we going to see a Palestinian voice on stage at this DNC?
The whole point of any of this, it's about being able to show there is room in the party for us too.
At the end of the day, Mehdi, who is our most important other? It's our Palestinian cousins. This thing has been going on for decades, for generations.
Party platform stated that the Democratic Party values Palestinian and Israeli lives equally. How did they signal that this week?
If I texted the WhatsApp groups that I'm in right now and I said, I need you to vote for Kamala Harris after what just happened this week, they're literally going to tell me I have no shame.
As a representative, elected representative, to I'm sure many Palestinian Americans who come up to you and say, what are you doing in that party?
Yeah, I really thought I could take something back after this week. And now I don't know what I'm going to say to them.
Mehdi Hassan's
Welcome to a very special episode of Mehdi Unfiltered. I'm Mehdi Hassan. We're here at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Actually, we're around the corner from the convention center at a brand new Palestinian American-owned cafe here in Chicago called Oud Coffee and Cafe. It's amazing. I urge you to check it out if you are in town. Where better to discuss the Democrats and the Uncommitted movement than here, the pro-Palestine, anti-war, Uncommitted movement, which secured more than 700...
Worshipper of Olympians, why did the DNC do that? Why? Who knows why? I want to know why. Well, the response to that is the DNC is spineless and cowardly. Like, frankly, that I feel like that's the reason, mixed with a hefty handful of spite. Like, essentially, they're afraid of a Palestinian speaker going off script and saying something incredibly inflammatory that might anger AIPAC donors. AIPAC has over $100 million it's prepared to drop into this election. It has been dropping obscene amounts of money on primarying politicians. These politicians are scared about that. Also, many people are ideologically Zionist in the Democratic Party. Again, this has been largely accepted by both Democrats and Republicans. It's why AIPAC is able to wield so much power, because for a very long time, people just were like, oh, this is basically free money for my campaign, and like, this bill will never come due. I will never have to do anything for this money. You know, they just want me to support Israel, and I don't know much about what's going on over there, but I could support a country for money. That's fine. Like, how often is that going to be relevant? And then like something like this pops off, and it's like, oh wait, that's the bill coming due. And unfortunately, there's been such a long period of time for AIPAC to kind of build power and build these connections and build like the political machine it wields, that a lot of people are suddenly feeling, a lot of politicians are suddenly feeling trapped. Like they have a political gun to their heads that they are only now discovering is there, And yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
100,000 votes in the Democratic Party primaries earlier this year, more than 100,000 in Michigan alone, and has sent 30 delegates from 8 states to the DNC, and yet none of them have been up on the DNC stage. We haven't heard from an uncommitted speaker. We haven't heard from a Palestinian speaker. So who better to discuss all of this than with my special panel tonight. Leila Al-Abed is one of the founders of the National Uncommitted Movement from Dearborn, Michigan, longtime community organizer. Roa Rahman is a Democratic State Representative from Georgia, from Atlanta, the first Palestinian-American, first Muslim American woman elected to the Georgia House of Representatives. And Andy Levin, former 2-term Democratic congressman from Michigan, a progressive, I should add, a Jewish critic of Israel who locked horns, I think, had a good fight with AIPAC in the past. Brilliant panel here to talk about a very important subject. Here we are at the DNC in Chicago, Wednesday, penultimate night.
There are a lot
Leila,
of John Fettermans.
Are we going to see Uncommitted on stage? Have a speaker? Are we going to see a Palestinian voice on stage at this DNC?
Well, in the most latest update that we've had, literally moments ago, we received an answer to our demand to have a Palestinian speaker, or have a speaker that can provide that very human impact testimony of our U.S. policy decisions. We demanded that the DNC allow Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan to fulfill that role. We have asked the DNC to allow Palestinian electeds to fulfill that role. People like Ru'a and Abdel Nasser Rashid, right here from Chicago.
Yeah, trains and bullshit. It's almost like lobbying should probably be pretty illegal, and it should be double super illegal to lobby on behalf of a foreign government. Yeah, like I feel like maybe we should get money out of politics. I don't know. I think maybe that'd be a good thing to pursue.
Elected within their own party, Palestinian elected within their own party. And we've just heard word that the answer is no.
Yeah.
That
the DNC have said officially.
And the answer remained no. We can now say in retrospect.
No.
Officially, the answer is no.
Was there a chance before? Was there a negotiation underway?
We thought we had been under, doing those negotiations for the last several days. We were being told it's a good thing. There's not a no answer. There's not a yes answer. Keep giving us names. Keep giving us names. We have given them names of electeds. We have given them names of Palestinian Americans who have family in Gaza. We have given them names of Palestinian Americans who have lost family members in Gaza, all to come to this moment of like, no, it's not going to happen.
And you mentioned one of the people you had suggested was Roa Rahman, who's Georgia State Representative. You are Palestinian American. What does it feel to you tonight to see no Palestinian American on stage at the DNC?
It actually is illegal to lobby for a foreign government, incredibly illegal, but Israel gets a pass under the veil of American-Israeli relations. Well, yeah, but like the same way it's illegal to directly give gifts to politicians, and yet, billions get spent on lobbying. It is kind of like illegal stuff like that goes on all the time. Guys, remember how Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, got put in charge of Middle East foreign policy? And then after he left office, inexplicably, the Saudi Arabian government transferred I think $2 billion into his brand new investment firm, despite the fact that it had no proven track record, despite the fact that Saudi Arabia's own government accountants were like, this seems like an incredibly bad investment. And then no one looked into that. There was no investigation into the incredibly weird, seeming corruption at play there. And yeah, just it's one of those things where all the time in Washington, even things that go beyond the pale into clearly illegal territory, that these things don't get investigated. You have to basically be like Bob Menendez and take comical gold bar payments from foreign officials under the table, like you're a evil Mr. Monopoly, which is a misnomer. That's just Mr. Monopoly. You have to be like a cartoon villain with how obvious you are.
See, in the midst of this brutal assault, people are still being killed, even as the DNC is going on. We had an Israeli hostage member's family on stage, which I think we all support. We all want the hostages released from Gaza, but no space for a Palestinian American voice such as yourself. You're an elected Democratic lawmaker. You're not some outsider. You're not an agitator. You're a lawmaker.
Yeah, I'm very much a rule follower, thanks to my mom. She's really drilled it into me, which has made it very, trying to keep the straight and narrow.
We're not going to see you rush the stage then.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have that kind of bravery. But it is definitely very disappointing because one, I want to be very clear. I'm so honored that you all even put me on that list. I mean, I took that very, very seriously. But at the same time, I don't think people understand the reason we are here. The whole point of any of this, it's not about who is on that stage. It's about being able to show there is room in the party for us too. We have heard from Republicans this week. We have heard from so many different stakeholders. Our tent has now become massive, including, by the way, Republicans from my state. And to think that those Republicans are allowed a bigger platform in my own party than me as an elected official who all I want to talk about is our stories about why we are there and the vision and the future that we think we can reach, the promise that the Democratic Party can reach in this historic moment. And instead we're being told, once again, no.
Andy, you were a member of Congress for 2 terms. You've been in the Democratic Party for a long time. Why? What do you think is the reasoning in the DNC and the Harris campaign? Are they just worried about this issue being in prime time?
I don't really know, Mehdi, but I'm disappointed because...
And that's kind of the thing, right? A lot of people aren't going to talk about what's going on behind the scenes right now. But I would wager a pretty strong guess that the DNC is riddled with people who are ideologically similar to Joe Biden, who have an ideologically Zionist stance on the issue. and who, seeing an opportunity to snub pro-Palestinian voices, take it because they're vindictive assholes, and also, to a lesser extent, because they're worried about what might be said. And that's probably the justification that they give to more sympathetic ears in the DNC, like sympathetic ears to the pro-Palestinian movement. But at the end of the day, it's spiteful, vindictive politics towards leftists, which, frankly, that's kind of par for the course for liberals. That is how liberals treat leftists, whether it's on economic issues or geopolitical issues.
I think, look at if you saw Bernie Sanders' speech, the biggest, but he didn't just say end the horrifying war in Gaza. It was the biggest.
Yeah, you can see why people want to call the government of the United States a Zionist-occupied government, but I'm not going to. Yeah, it's probably a bad idea to use terms originating from like the neo-Nazi movement in your criticism of Zionist policy. I agree. That's a good move. It's a good move to avoid those terms.
Applause line in his speech. You know, the Democratic base, Jewish, Arab American, you know, African American, all of our amazing rainbow, like, you know, we're talking about the tent.
Yes.
Really, there's a strong feeling across all the different, you know, parts of our party that we need a real ceasefire to end this horrifying violence. And let me just say it. Before we came, I was able to see the hostage parents. You know, they're from Chicago. I didn't know anything about it before I saw them. So moved. Everybody in that hall is crying. I was super moved by it. You know, I think the Democratic Party has to talk about the fact that we had a way better chance of getting more hostages out alive by not having this terrible war. Yes. The Israeli Defense Forces have said that some of these hostages seem to have likely been killed when the IDF, blew up tunnels.
Just this week, 5 of the 6 bodies that were brought back apparently allegedly killed by the IDF.
Right. So, you know, it wasn't even a good strategy for that. Why can't we talk about these things? But look, I also am a little bit, you know, I have 2 really different perspectives on this. One is just as a person, a Jew of faith who takes my faith seriously, you know, the Torah says, our Bible says 36 times some version, a mitzvah, a requirement, what we need to do, that, you know, love the stranger as yourself, the other, there's different formulations, yes. Right? 36 is a significant number for us, 18, you know, it's a double high, you know, there's a lot to it. Who is the most important, at the end of the day, Mehdi, who is our most important other? It's our Palestinian cousins. This thing has been going on for decades, for generations, and I believe Kamala Harris can change course and face it. But, and so I'm sure we'll talk about policy too, yeah. But I do think it was, if this is the decision, I think it's a mistake. I just met Rua, like this amazing state legislator from Georgia. And I guess the Uncommitted movement, let her speak. Yeah. The Uncommitted movement, I guess, gave a lot of options. You know, that Dr. Tanya, that was the same doctor on our panel on Monday. Oh my goodness.
She was on Christian Amanpour's CNN show. But good enough for CNN, but not the DNC.
She is so compelling and she's totally non-political.
Yes.
You know, so anyway, it's
for those of you who don't know who they're talking about here, Dr. Tanya is a doctor who went to Gaza and served the people there.
A panel, as we heard, focused on Palestinian human rights, which brought the topic to the DNC for the very first time. Among the speakers, my next guest, Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan.
Can we just take a moment? Christian Amanpour is like one of the best in the biz. Like in mainstream media, like, she's one of the best reporters working. Like, she actually seems to do journalism, despite having, like, a headlining name and, like, the ability to, like, get shows off the ground. Like, she's not content to like sit on her laurels. She like still goes out and does stuff. Like she's a more mainstream Amy Goodman, frankly, and we're very lucky to have her in our corner. But like, so underappreciated, IMO.
Moving many in the crowd to tears as she described what she had seen inside Gaza when she worked there as a medic in March. Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan, welcome to the program. We just heard before you came on from State Senator Mallory McMorrow, who was quite moved and went to quite, lengths to tell us about this panel. Tell me about the panel that you took part in. What was it designed to do? Are you satisfied with what you were able to do during that panel?
Thanks, Christian. So I'm here amongst...
Wait, well, but Kiwi Bird, the issue is when you're using language originating from Nazis, what ends up happening is that the Nazis find it easier to mingle with non-Nazis and spread their rhetoric. Like that. This is why I've been talking quite a bit about how you really need to be careful when you're getting information about what's happening in Gaza, that you aren't just stumbling blindly into like a group of neo-Nazis who are fronting as, concerned leftists. This is why, like, I'm not saying that it's wrong to acknowledge the strength of the Zionist lobby in the United States. What I am saying is don't use the language of Nazis to talk about it. You be more nuanced about it, like be able to explain the language issue. It needs to be that we distance ourselves from the Nazi movement when it comes to our criticism and our critique. Because the nature of Nazi criticism is that they believe that there is a global Jewish conspiracy to undermine America and control America. Like that's the rhetoric that they are employing, and borrowing parts of that rhetoric just make it easier for them to hide. I hope that makes sense.
Multiple American doctors and physicians who've all come for the same purpose. In fact, I don't know a single physician or surgeon or healthcare worker who's been to Gaza in the past 10 months that doesn't come back with the same very urgent message. We've been trained to protect and preserve human life, but the Israeli military campaign is targeting life and everything needed to sustain it in Gaza, and that renders our work as physicians impossible. This morning, I'm here with a number of American doctors, surgeons who just held a press conference here at the McCormick Center in Chicago. I had contacted a few of them a couple weeks ago saying that we wanted to come and speak at the Democratic National Convention to try and see if we can pressure the U.S. to take a different position to finally put down an arms embargo or and pressure an end to this military campaign. And the overwhelming response from every single person I contacted was, yes, absolutely, we're coming. I work for Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières, and in the Rwandan genocide, they said genocide calls for a radical immediate response. Doctors cannot stop genocide. And I think a lot of us feel the same way. We are so horrified by what we witness. It haunts us in our dreams. Dr. Mark Perlmutter, a Jewish American surgeon who was there, sent a message for us to deliver today. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here for work obligations. But he said parents come to him in his dreams and stare at him, wondering why he didn't do more to stop their children from being killed. And I cannot count the number of children, Christian, that died under my care in Gaza from US-made bombs falling on their homes, on the places they have been displaced to multiple times. And I think the purpose that...
This is the woman that that the DNC denied to speak, by the way. This is one of the people put forward as someone who could go to the DNC and speak the truth about what's happening in Gaza. And honestly, like, it's probably I've already said like a few things about why, you know, they're spiteful, they're worried about what might be said and how that might affect policy, and also, and I do think that this is a not insignificant reason, they wanted this to be a happy, fun, lighthearted coronation of Kamala Harris. And having a speaker talk about war crimes and dead children, well, that harshes the mellow. You're harshing the vibes. Can't have that. And it's disgusting, you know? It hiding your head in the sand to avoid the truth about something horrible that you are complicit in, that's actually what harshes the vibes. Inaction in the face of atrocity is what harshes the vibes.
That the reason I was here, and the reason I think many of my colleagues have turned up, is because we wouldn't be able to live with ourselves if
I don't know anymore how to talk about what the Israelis do without wandering into language that the Nazis had co-opted and stolen from us. Again, just don't use terms that originate from Nazi rhetoric. Like, it's not hard to just not use that. You can still articulate the processes. Just don't be like, oh yeah, these Kaslers over in Israel, man, they run the world. Like, you can talk about what's happening without using like slurs and terminology that Nazis use. You know, without like using the slop that is spewed out of 4chan and /poll. Like you can do that. I believe in you guys. In the face of atrocity, you don't actually have to turn to Nazism in order to articulate things. Like, I don't know, in the wake of the Holocaust, did Jewish writers start talking about how you know, the Nazis were right? No, they didn't start using and adopting Nazi rhetoric. Like, you can just articulate the processes.
if we thought we hadn't done everything possible to stop this.
And Doctor, do you feel, you know, and you've sent in pictures and we've seen and we've had reports from our correspondents throughout this.
Yeah, you talk about the relationship between like the military-industrial complex and like Israel. Talk about like how the Israeli government like trains American cops. You talk about like at the actual substantive portions of the issues, and you don't have to like actually go, yeah, man, the Zionists are controlling the U.S. government. That evil cabal of Jews over there is really, you know, using their dead babies to power their foreign policy. You know, they're drinking their blood to remain young in their occult. You don't have to use that rhetoric. You can just be like, yeah, no, they use money to lobby the American government to affect outcomes that are beneficial to them. You could just talk about that. You could just talk about the actual mechanisms and what their goals are and why their goals are that way. And you don't actually have to fall into Nazi rhetoric to do that. It's not that the sentences look similar. The issue is Zionist-controlled government is a term from Nazi-like circles. That I'm not saying you can't say the government is influenced by the Israeli lobby, because it is. But there's a big difference between talking about how lobbying affects government action versus an evil cabal of Jews is controlling the American government. Does that make sense? Like, there's a big difference between those two different articulations. And the Nazi one, you know, that an evil cabal of Jews is controlling the American government, you don't actually have to use that. And it's also incorrect. So use the correct formulation of what's going on that doesn't fall into Nazi rhetoric.
This, terrible 10 months about what's unfolding in Gaza, even though international reporters cannot get in. I mean, they're really heroic Palestinians who are working with our international colleagues to get this story out. Do you feel that what you said and the way the panel was received made any inroads? Because it seems from where we sit, there's literally no chance in hell that there's going to be an arms embargo or anything on Israel.
Christiane, I wish I could contradict you,
No, it's okay.
but you know, I'm
Kiwi Burb, it's okay, and I'm glad that you're actually articulating some of those concerns, because I think a lot of people fall into in leftist circles fall into your camp where it feels like there aren't other options for how to articulate the horror that is happening, and part of what I want to do is make sure that in our desperation to do the right thing, we don't accidentally find ourselves relying on people, commentators, or rhetoric that are steeped in Nazism, that are going to poison our hearts and use our good intentions against us, And yeah, exactly, Mr. Miyagi. We're all learning here together,
I'm a rational person, and I have been coming on the news for 10 months, repeating the same messages of urgency over and over again, and I haven't seen significant change in the American position on this. For the ongoing and unconditional U.S. military support for Israel in this military campaign, it starkly contrasts with documented realities on the ground, with what me and my colleagues have personally witnessed, what every single person I know who's been to Gaza in the last 10 months has come out saying, what the International Court of Justice is calling, have findings indicating it's plausible genocide, with the repeated global condemnation from every human rights and humanitarian organization. So I want to contradict you and say that the fact that there's so many people here delivering the same message, the fact that in essence the U.S. is breaking its own laws and international law by continuing to fund this, that these things are going to change the position. I hope it will. History is watching us, and I know I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I were in the position of these decision makers and continued to fund this.
The pictures that we've just shown are some of the ones that you sent from your time in the hospital there in March.
The bloody footprints on the ground, to me, that's an image that's going to stick with me for a long time. When you have a hospital a hospital system that's so poorly equipped that people don't have shoes, and that blood runs freely on the ground, and just trails of bare, bloodied feet go through the hospital, that's the fact that we are complicit with this is unspeakably evil.
There are, according to the Gaza authorities, more than 40,000 now is the death toll. We don't know exactly how many are civilians and how many are militants, but certainly we see the images of civilians who are most definitely, killed and wounded in this. What gives you hope? Is it the protests outside? Is it the Uncommitted movement in the Democratic Party, which sent a clear signal during the primaries and continues to send it? There are delegates of Uncommitted, this Uncommitted group in terms of their protest there in Chicago. What gives you hope?
So, Christiane, I mean, you're right. Just going back to what you said, there are tens of thousands of people who've been killed. so many of those children. I think when you look at the death toll in Gaza, it reflects the demographics of the population. It tells you how indiscriminate these attacks have been. This military assault has broken all the worst types of records: highest number of humanitarian workers killed, record numbers of journalists killed, record numbers of healthcare workers killed, over 500 healthcare workers in Gaza killed to date, including many of my colleagues, people I knew personally. And this isn't even mentioning all the healthcare workers that have been detained, tortured. We're hearing reports of physical, psychological, and sexual torture. I spoke to a few of them who've been released because they have no crime to be held for, and they describe the worst kinds of abuse. What gives me hope? I think, I spoke with one of my Gazan colleagues yesterday on the phone. He's a pain and rehabilitation doctor who's an Oxford graduate, like myself. I knew him in Oxford, and I've also seen him multiple times in Gaza on my visits there. And he had some very sad messages to share, including some, I asked him if there's anything he wanted me to share, and he said, tell them that children around me are wishing for death because they would rather die than go on living.
We've heard that, and it is
in these unlivable circumstances.
I mean, each time I hear that from somebody like yourself and somebody who's on the ground, it is very shocking to hear children who say that. And I just want to ask you from your perspective, you were there for, I don't know, a month or so in a specific hospital in Gaza in March. The war was raging. The Israelis say that they follow the laws of war and they do their best to avoid civilian casualties.
Yeah, they're lying.
Is there anything that you were able to see from your perspective that leads you to believe that that is the case?
Excellent question.
Christian, I'll tell you what I saw, and then I'll let you and your viewers conclude what you may. The emergency department is filled with families. I'm a pediatric intensive care doctor. My subspecialty is children. My subspecialty is children who are critically unwell or ill or injured.
There's a hospital still in Gaza? Well, anywhere gets turned into a hospital when people are injured and you have doctors. I wouldn't say there are functional hospitals left in Gaza, but there are still, the hollowed out husks of buildings that parents take their dying children to in the hope that maybe someone can save them. It's not. They don't have enough medicine. They don't have food. Children are literally starving to death. It's
and I was instrumental in the emergency department. I was running around all over the place. They kept on calling me because in every corner of the resuscitation bay, there were children fighting for their life. And that in and of itself tells you how little to nothing is being done to preserve civilian life. It's the families that I spoke to are living in apartment buildings. They're living in tents. I had a patient who was bulldozed in her tent and crushed and died. I have a woman in the ICU.
Yeah, can we just say, if Israel was taking the steps to protect civilian life, there wouldn't be a circumstance where a bulldozer crushes someone to death. That's not maybe you can make an argument for oh man, the drone dropped the bomb in the wrong place. Whoopsie daisy, that's our bad. But a bulldozing is... Bulldozers aren't fast, guys. You don't accidentally crush someone to death in a bulldozer.
Who came to visit her 6-year-old daughter who had severe brain damage from the missile that fell on her home. She said she was just in the middle of prayer when it happened. Her husband works at a dairy factory, and her infant child was killed in the same attack. A pregnant woman wheeled in 7 days postpartum, speechless, just staring vacantly. Her husband with her, telling me that she delivered 7 days ago and that the baby she delivered is somewhere trapped under the rubble. I was turning left, right, and center amongst entire families whose lives have been destroyed in a single second. So to say that, you know, everything is being done to protect civilian lives, I mean,
Yes, Doctor, I hear you.
I think your viewers are more intelligent than that.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan.
So, Barack, we are.
It is, it's bleak. But that's who the Uncommitted movement was lobbying to get the DNC to allow to speak. That woman, that pediatric specialist who served in Gaza for a month and just saw unspeakable atrocity after unspeakable atrocity. And the DNC said no. Under no circumstances.
It's disappointing to me.
So let me ask you this: you actually met with Kamala Harris briefly in a kind of rope line before the rally in Michigan about, what was it now, 10 days there? I can't keep track of days anymore. I just got to ask you, as a Palestinian on this panel with Ruh, there's a whole debate about Palestinian invisibility, and Ta-Nehisi Coates, one of the great writers of our time, has just written a piece for Vanity Fair.
Yeah, who I met yesterday.
And he's saying very openly that there's no Palestinians on stage because they don't want to hear from them, they don't want to see them, they're very uncomfortable, they being the party leadership. How do you...
Well, yeah, like, it is spite, and it is also a level of discomfort with the culpability. You know, like, no one wants to be told that they're responsible for the deaths of children. You know, no one wants to be told that. And a lot of people would rather bury their heads in the sand than accept any amount of discomfort on that front.
How do you feel as a Palestinian within this movement, someone who got up close personally with the vice president, who's someone who clearly has empathy for people in trouble, is a woman of color? How did you feel, I wonder, when you met with her?
When I met with her, I felt that her empathy and her compassion towards me was very authentic and genuine. And it was in a very emotional moment for me to sit there and face Vice President Kamala Harris and tell her that Michigan voters want to be able to vote for her, but we can't do that with a policy that doesn't save the lives of people we love, the lives of Palestinians who are the very reflection of our own community here in the United States. These are people that share the same names of my own children.
Yes.
And although she was very compassionate, very genuine, she listened to what I had to say. I told her about the tens to hundreds of family members that my community members are losing each day in Gaza because of our tax dollars. And she said it's horrific. And I asked her, will you meet with us to discuss an arms embargo? And she said she would meet with us. She didn't say she would, agree to an arms embargo.
And her advisors very quickly came back the next day and said she doesn't support arms embargo.
And we know that. That's why we said we want to discuss with you an arms embargo.
And I do have a bit of sympathy with Kamala Harris on this point. I do think at this point, it's probably not possible, even if she did support an arms embargo, for her to come out and say that. Largely because there are now, her being a front runner for the presidency, there are a lot of geopolitical ramifications for that. I mentioned this last night, but it's entirely possible, given the precariousness of Netanyahu's position, that if he gets wind that the United States, should Kamala Harris be elected, will rescind its support. It could be that he takes more and more erratic action in the Middle East to try and bait Iran or Hezbollah into all-out war. It already seems like he's been doing that with increasing intensity. And so I think that is a very real issue with like how she communicates and comports herself. And I don't know, and this is why I think largely we're not going to get any clear idea of her policy regarding Gaza and Israel until it's like down to the wire, like a week out from the election, you know? Unfortunately. Which doesn't instill me with a great degree of confidence in her position, but I also understand that, like, this is one of the unfortunate realities of playing geopolitics. You know, it's how the game works.
Fargo, because we know that is not the current policy. But the current policy right now does not actually get us a ceasefire.
So you are in the Uncommitted movement. You are here at the DNC pressuring from within. You know, it's insider-outsider strategy.
That'd be
as the
really
phrase
cool,
goes.
Ms. Milena, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it.
Member
You know?
of the House of Representatives. You're a Democratic lawmaker. What do you both say? What do you say as a representative, elected representative, to, I'm sure, many Palestinian Americans who come up to you and say, what are you doing in that party? We're invisible to that party. We're not represented. They don't care about us. What do you say to them?
I'm going to be honest with you. I really thought I could take something back after this week. Yeah. And now I don't know what I'm going to say to them. I really don't, because, you know, none of us expect to change 80 years worth of policy, you know, in the course of a single election cycle. That is absolutely not the, you know, current ask. That is not what is being demanded. What is being.
I do think, though, what we are seeing is a historic shift in support among Democrats, at the very least. Like a first in 80-year shift, if not in policy, but in support of better policy. And my hope is that that shift in support will lead to better policy positions being embraced by politicians in the near future. I don't know if that will happen this election cycle, but what I do know is that the mythology of Israel as like this righteous, upright nation is shattered in the American consciousness, for the vast majority of Democrats, at least. And I don't think that is going to be fixed. Like, I don't think any amount of Israeli PR is going to fix that perception anymore. And I think that is good.
Demanded at the most basic fundamental level is that for those of us who have given so much for this party, because again, I've been an organizer for 10 years, 8 years longer than I've been an elected official. I have knocked doors. I personally knocked doors for President Biden in Forsyth County in the cold on my own, because I firmly believe that we could not have Trump again. Yeah. I am somebody who's turned out, at this point, tens of thousands of voters for the party. I'm in a swing state, and I've done it consistently. And when somebody tells me, what are you doing in that party? I used to be able to say, this is the only party, the only one that at least strives to do the right thing. No, but there is no singular perfect party. But our tent is big enough that I can see myself in it, and that it matches my values of striving to be the best that we can be.
You won't see yourself on stage now.
And to be clear, again, it's not about me, just a singular like Palestinian, somebody who shares who we are.
I just want to broaden it past, just because you mentioned your state, Georgia, and I was going to get into it later, but you mentioned it now. This idea of being a swing state, when we talk about swing states, and I want to come back to Michigan, Andy, you mentioned it earlier, obviously we talk about Arab Americans in Michigan, but this is way beyond Arab Americans. You're in Georgia, where we know 11,000 votes.
780.
Split. We know because Donald Trump called up and said, find me those votes. And yet, I believe 6,000 uncommitted, or I think it's called, what was it called in Georgia? It was a different name.
Leave it blank.
Leave it blank. 6,000 people left it blank in the primaries. That number may be bigger today, given what's happened over the last few months. And the New York Times reported that black pastors in Georgia were leading the movement against this genocide and calling for a ceasefire. This is not just about Arab Americans in the tent. This is, as Andy mentioned earlier, young people, black people, Jewish people.
Yeah, I mean, to be very clear, our multi-faith, multi-racial, multi-generational coalition that has grown on this in Georgia is the reason I'm still alive today. I could not bear the weight of everything that has happened without them. What we saw in Georgia truly was the future of this country. And to see that be ignored, particularly when the stakes are so high, And I want to be clear, me as an elected official, I care about my constituents. I want to keep them safe as much as humanly possible. And I'm Palestinian, and now I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place of, what do I do ahead of November? How can I turn out my community, who, by the way, there's 76,000 registered Muslims in the state of Georgia. There are 55,000 Arabs, and we're not really sure how many of those are registered to vote, but those are still way larger than the margin of victory for President Biden. And I'm concerned, and the only reason I'm here, the only reason any of us are trying this hard is because we want to be able to deliver those votes come November.
Andy, I spoke to someone in the DNC a few months ago, and I said, what about Michigan? Aren't you worried? This is when Biden was still the candidate. Aren't you worried about Michigan? And they said, no, we think we can win Michigan with suburban women on abortion and auto workers and labor. We don't need Arab Americans or young people. What's your reaction to that?
Imagine saying you want to forego your most enthusiastic demographic. You know, young people might not turn out to elections to the same degree as older folks, but like young people are the ones who like fill up volunteer slots to knock doors and phone bank, etc. Like they're the ones who put in the extra work to turn out those older voters too, you know? Let's abandon our most ardent supporters who are going to be lifelong supporters of the party if we do this right. Yeah, we don't need them. The political calculus in Washington, D.C. is moronic in the extreme. The traditional, like, political calculations are insane to me.
You know, I for one thing, there's so many Arab Americans are auto workers. Yes. I just have to say, you know, thousands and thousands. We have 300,000 Middle East, North African people. We're beyond our Arab American population. We're a big Muslim state of, you know, other Black Muslims, South Asian Muslims, right? You mentioned the Black pastors, bishops of the AME Church, right, called out this issue. Yes. Thousands of Black pastors around the country. So it's an issue that cuts across the progressive base, the base of the Democratic Party in Michigan. And I particularly want to call out one thing about Michigan that we're super proud of. We have done, and we're recognized for this. The Roosevelt Institute just put out a little report. Michigan's done the best of any state on what you might call democratic, with a small d, democratic hygiene. You know, same day, no vote registration, motor voter, no reason absentee, college students being able to vote where they are studying. You can register and vote right up till the polls close, on and on. From 2018 to 2022, Michigan increased its youth vote more than any other state. And in 2022, we had the highest vote rate of youth voting. And then, what are we going to squander all this?
The DNC and like traditional political thinking is, the answer to that question is yes. Waste it because it's a fluke. You know, the traditional political calculus is that don't waste your time on new media. You know, like streaming or YouTube. You know, those are wastes of time. You want to focus on where the real action is. Calling elderly people who don't use like caller ID. That's where the real money is. That's where you really turn out the votes. Unironically, I'm not kidding. To traditional Washington political organizers, you don't like turn to like social media websites. You don't turn to like anything except for two things. Your calling list and your email list. Those are the newest things in Washington political organizing. The only people in town who are like focusing on organizing like new media among streamers and like YouTubers and stuff, the only game in town for that is like Progressive Victory. That's it. That's it. And they're a relatively small and new group, guys. the rest of Washington is hung up on, oh, we just need to get the email lists. Yeah, the email lists that, because young people all look at their spam folders these days. It's insane. It's actually insane. It's 2024.
Because young people are so deeply into this issue. And you have to just, I don't think the people understand in the campaign or in the DNC, on a college campus in Michigan, since we're by far the most densely Arab American state, like if we're a bunch of sophomores in our dorm or if we're a bunch of students in a frat or a sorority or in a dining hall, there are Palestinian Americans in our friend groups. And let's say we're all students here. Let's say none of us are political, right? And a Palestinian American friend runs in crying, what's the matter? 12 of my cousins were just wiped out. Their apartment block was imploded by a 2,000-pound bomb. We're all gonna start crying. We're all gonna start hugging. We're never gonna forget this moment for the rest of our lives. And this, all of a sudden, our parents are gonna be like, what happened to you? You're all political. Because we're all part of that friend's cause. Because we can't stand for it. So.
Yeah, and there's honestly an element of this, and they touched on it earlier about like how the element of invisibility is by design. It's both by design and by negligence, because the DNC's calculation is that there aren't enough Palestinians to actually matter in the grand scheme of like a general election. Except that those Palestinians know people. And those people know people. And like the effect of like someone's entire family getting wiped out reverberates outward from them and affects their friends and their families. And like it is not an isolated event. It's not an isolated, invisible, uncared about thing. Because human beings, we tend to care for each other. And that might be an idea that's, anathema to the very existence of the DNC. Certainly seems like it anyway. But people care about each other. And they care about the issues that affect their friends and families. And to write that off is the height of stupidity and arrogance, which puts it firmly within the DNC's purview, I suppose.
Look, I don't want Donald Trump anywhere near the White House ever again. I've said from the beginning of my support for these amazing young organizers like Layla, who created this, Listen to Michigan movement that became...
Yeah. Stoudman says, one of the most important and credible people I've met in my life is my friend Mia, a Palestinian American, and definitely one of the primary reasons that this hits so hard. Her family is being slaughtered. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to sit by while you watch your friends lose everything because of cruel and inhuman American political policy.
The Uncommitted national movement. I was going to vote for Biden. I'm definitely voting for Harris. But I want to help her win Michigan. Yeah. You can't win the White House without winning Michigan because of the stupid Electoral College, right? You need those Michigan's Electoral College, 15 Electoral College votes. And maybe you could win Michigan but any sensible organizer.
You don't want to be complacent with our stupid Electoral College and Donald Trump neck and neck in the polls.
Yes.
Layla, let me ask you this. And I do want to come back to Michigan, and you're from Dearborn, I know. But just on the policy front, let's say we started this conversation talking about this kind of quote-unquote breaking news this evening here on a Wednesday evening in Chicago that there isn't going to be a Palestinian voice on the DNC stage before it's over tomorrow night. But let's say they had put a Palestinian voice on stage. Let's say they had put Ruah on stage and we heard a great speech and we heard Palestinian humanity expressed from the podium. But then the policy still didn't change. You'd still leave Chicago with Palestinians.
I live right next to Dearborn, Michigan. There is no way to hide your head in the sand because everyone is touched by this. Yeah. Yeah. And Michigan is a swing state. If you like it doesn't even take a politician who cares about the issue. It takes a politician who wants to win to actually want to address this issue. And It is incredibly, incredibly infuriating that it has not been addressed yet.
Is being killed with American bombs. And the policy that you are now calling for is some form of arms embargo, conditioning of aid.
Yeah, because it's not enough to call for a ceasefire. You need an actual course of action to get that ceasefire. What are you going to do? Like, yelling at Benjamin Netanyahu in a private meeting doesn't count. You need to actually do something.
Kamala Harris's former national security advisor said on a panel a few days ago there will be no conditioning of aid in her view. Phil Gordon, who's the current national security advisor to the vice president, put out a tweet.
Well, that's true. Dr. Delitis, you could win Michigan without the Arab American vote. Sure. The same way, hypothetically, you could win like a southern state without the black vote. But it's not a good idea to try and do that.
The day after you met with Harris saying she doesn't support an arms embargo. So it's not looking good on the policy front. Or is there some, do you think there's some place for some movement at some point?
Yeah, like the arms embargo is really just asking for the United States' own laws to be put into effect. Like, it's really just saying, hey, the Leahy law should have been invoked months ago. Like, this isn't controversial. The guy who wrote that law says it should be enacted. Like, it is honestly the most common sense thing you could possibly, like, articulate. And you can even point to the fact that it's in accordance with U.S. law that you embargo, like, have an arms embargo of Israel based on existing U.S. law. Hey, Stereotype Steve. Thank you. I miss you too. We do need to catch up. I've been seeing your barbecue business take off a bit. That's so cool.
I do think, you know, in having a speaker on the stage of the Democratic National Convention was a demand that we had, a movement demand that we had of the DNC.
Yeah.
It is not the demand of our movement overall, is just to have a speaker.
Yes, it was one.
But the party platform was revealed on Monday. And that party platform stated that the Democratic Party values Palestinian and Israeli lives equally.
Yeah.
How did they signal that this week during the Democratic National?
By the way, in case people don't know what the Leahy law is, it's basically U.S. law that prohibits the U.S. State Department or the Department of Defense from sending military assistance to foreign military units that violate human rights law, which Israel is absolutely doing, like, every day. Like, in a documented fashion. It's not like, oh, you really have to dig for it. You don't. You just, like, Google what have they done today.
National Convention, not having one Palestinian American speaker.
And even though you guys turned up with 700,000 votes under your belt.
Yeah, they've had
700,000 more than some of the pro-Harris Republicans.
Exactly. Not only they had Republicans speak on that stage,
Yeah,
they
it's more
even
what you
had
would call
Border Patrol
guidelines,
officers
yeah.
speak on that stage. But they couldn't find one Palestinian to
But they
be
could
on
find, they just don't want to
They
give
just
them
didn't
the
want
slot.
it.
You
It's
found them, one of them's right
It is
here.
almost like our tears, our pain, our suffering doesn't matter. You know, my sister Rashida often says that a Palestinian child's cries is no different than an Israeli child's cries.
True.
But what just happened this week and the fact that our request was denied signal to all of us that it is not true, that they do not value our lives the same. And when it comes to policy, the least that we could do, this administration and Vice President Harris could do, is follow our own justice system.
Yeah.
Because right now we are violating, right now we are in violation of our own laws, Leahy law and international law.
Which says you can't use weapons, you can't provide weapons to where human rights violations are being documented. Let me ask you this, Andy, quick question on Layla mentioned her sister Rashida, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, who isn't at the DNC this year. Let me ask you this question, Andy. The only Palestinian American in Congress was censured by Congress in the midst of all this. Not the Republicans who said turn Gaza into a parking lot, who made genocidal statements about Palestinians, but the woman who said, I want everyone to be free. But she said, between the river and the sea, you're not allowed to say that. I got asked a question. You went up against AIPAC in your own race. You lost in 2022. Are we seeing any movement in terms of the Democrats in Congress changing their positions on Israel-Palestine, standing up to a pro-Israel lobby? I saw a speaker on stage, I can't remember who, on Monday or Tuesday night say, we took on the gun lobby and we beat them. And I think I tweeted, will we ever hear a Democrat say on a DNC stage, we took on the pro-Israel lobby and beat them? Will that day ever come?
Well, I think
God bless Mehdi Hasan, man. Like, he asks such great questions and has like really good insight. Like, this is perfection. This is exactly the kind of journalism that needed to be done in the wake of the DNC.
AIPAC is, becoming, it's completely lost its soul. I mean, and the Democratic Party faces an existential issue over this, not just because of this one issue, but because of what it means to let Republican billionaires come in and determine the outcomes of Democratic primaries, right? But I really, what Congress does on this matters a lot, but I think, and I was a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and I think the Article 1 body, Congress, which holds all the purse strings, including on all the foreign, spending we do on all military, humanitarian, everything. I think Congress needs to retake its proper role on foreign policy in a stronger way. Like, we have these authorizations for use of military force from forever ago that we don't get rid of. All those should have a time limit and all that. But listen,
yeah, Mehdi Hasan got fired for being too vocally pro-Palestinian.
I think in our tradition, even if we did that, the role of the president in foreign affairs is really strong. And so I want to keep the focus on Vice President Harris. And I'm not giving up.
Focus on Harris, what about Joe Biden? What's going on there? The guy's not even running for re-election anymore.
Well, no. So that's an excellent point.
And he just signed off on, I think, $20 billion.
But I think that Vice President Harris is in a difficult position here, right? She's the vice president. He's the president. But she's who I'm focused on. I don't expect change from President Biden on this.
But Harris should distance herself from Biden?
Well,
because your senator in Michigan, Gary Peters, said recently at Politico that he thinks she holds different views. And when he was asked by the Politico reporter, should she make them clear, he said yes.
Yes, and Gary Peters is a really smart politician who's very careful, and what he says is very considered.
Agreed.
And he's in charge of the Senate, re-election effort to try to hold the majority, which is going to be super tough. So I think there's a significance there. What I really want to emphasize is, as disappointing as not having a speaker is, a Palestinian speaker on stage in prime time, which is very disappointing. To be honest, I'm much more focused on the policy.
Yes.
And the policy is most important. And I am not giving up at all. Look, she just became the nominee. This is crazy. She's filling out her team, right? I want to keep, our eyes on the prize of getting her to say things, as Senator Peters says, that if you have your own views, express them. And I think there's a lot of space for her to do this in a way that would make people in the community feel like, okay, I want to give her a chance. Very few people. Look, Muslims have fundamentalists just like Christians and Jews. So there's these people in Dearborn and every other part who are like, ban books and, no abortion ever. I mean, there are Muslims like that too. So they might vote, Arab American and otherwise. And by the way, in my re-election, when I was strongly supported by the Muslim community, this is something to pay attention to, because some of them would say, oh, you know, we're supporting you and stuff, but you have to do something to protect our children. I'm like, what? And then they would say, like, well, they can't be, you know, I don't want to get off track. But listen, she could say,
Yes.
as Layla said, and when I'm president,
yes,
we're going to follow U.S. and international law.
Which is what Hubert Humphrey did in '68 to distance himself from LBJ on Vietnam.
He did.
Narrowed the gap in the polls. He did. In September '68, he finally disowned LBJ, but it was too late.
Too late.
And he lost by 0.7 percentage point.
Yes.
So we don't want to see that happen with Donald Trump benefiting. Ru, I want to come back to you on the convention. Before I do, just Layla, on that point about some people, you know, will never vote for. Of the uncommitted movement, like what proportion would say, you know what? We're not just trying to, you know, there's a whole punish Biden phrase. We're not about punishing. We do want change. And if there is some kind of indication of change, we'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
There was just a poll that came.
Like, one of the things that I think mainstream media has been incredibly effective at doing is smearing the uncommitted movement as disorganized whiners who have unreasonable demands. And I think what we're finding here with Mediasan, like, elevating their position here is that that's just a lie. Like, these people are not unreasonable. They're not, you know, deaf or blind to, like, the political reality that, like, Kamala Harris exists in. Like they said earlier, they're not asking for an overturning of like 80 years of US policy. But what they do want, and they're also not sitting there being like, yes, we're going to ensure that Donald Trump wins to punish the Democrats, which is what you see a lot in like online left circles or whatever. But what they're saying is, hey, we want to help you win. If you want to win, here's how you can do that. Here's how you can signal to us, you know, Arab Americans, Palestinian Americans, Muslim Americans, that, hey, you are going to do something about this conflict. And in the face of that, like, of these pretty reasonable suggestions and these very reasonable asks, the DNC just said, how about you guys go fuck yourselves? That's the official position of the DNC. Now, I don't think that the DNC and Kamala Harris are exactly the same entity. I think that Kamala Harris has her own politics separate from that of Joe Biden. And I think that currently Joe Biden is the president. He and his policies and, you know, people who agree with him are the people who hold sway in the Democratic Party in the DNC. And I as a result, I think like the DNC is more reflective of that. And Kamala Harris is, to an extent, kind of caged by that rhetoric and by those policy choices. But that being said, there are, like, if there was a time to throw your weight around as Kamala Harris in this scenario, like the DNC would have been it. Like saying, hey, I am going to be president. This is what I need from you. Get one of them on stage, or I'm going to remember who said no to me. You know, like that's what you need. We needed like an actual application of her power. And this isn't a situation in which like people are like, oh, Kamala Harris secretly controls the border and is doing nothing about the border crisis, because they call her a border czar, and like she doesn't have any actual power to affect that change. You know, she can't undo Biden's policy as vice president. Like, that's not how that works. But she could have thrown her weight around at the DNC more. And maybe it's something that like slipped through the gaps, but it's rough. To add my thoughts to that question, I don't think anything will change until our politicians can't have personal stake in investments and lobbyist interests that influence their decisions. It won't change until that changes. Well, yeah, and that's another thing. I do think we need to clamp down, and we need to like effectively outlaw lobbying. We need to actually outlaw lobbying. Or at the very least, heavily restrict it to such a degree that like, you know, your Nestle company can only like drop $200 into lobbying instead of $200 million into lobbying, you know? We need to undo Citizens United. We need like a constitutional amendment to like get that shit out of our political system. I don't know that it's in the cards right now, unfortunately, but we need to like get more progressive folks into politics, get more progressives on the handle, on the driving wheel, the steering wheel of politics, so we can move in that direction, because lobbying is how capitalism erodes our democracy. And I think we're seeing that. Like we're directly seeing it in in Donald Trump and in the DNC and AIPAC. We're seeing that. Honestly, it starts with getting the Supreme Court under control. Yeah, it'd be nice to see Kamala Harris get the SCOTUS reforms through. So, I don't know. We gotta keep the course.
Came out, I think it was an IMEU poll.
Yes, it was YouGov poll. Yeah.
Yes, that said that if Vice President Kamala Harris came out with a policy that saved lives right now, a form of an arms embargo,
yes,
that she would win those key swing states.
Yes. I think more than a third of voters
Yes.
were more likely to vote for
Yes,
it.
more likely to vote for her.
Yeah.
And so these are folks.
A third of all voters, by the way. A third of all voters. 33% of all voters are more likely to vote for Harris if she supports like policies that would bring an end to the conflict in Gaza.
Who do not, these are Democratic voters who don't want to see Trump elected, but want their children and their family members and their communities here and abroad to be protected. Because let's not ignore what has happened here in the last few months. It hasn't been just the rise of anti-Semitism, but there's been a rise in anti-Arab hate, Islamophobia, anti-Palestinian hate. Wadia El-Fayyoumi from Illinois was stabbed to death for being Palestinian. The 3 men from Vermont, one who's going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Yes.
And the mother from Texas who literally had to save her children from being drowned by a racist.
It's a very good point.
And,
that all has to be part of this conversation.
And all of this has to be a part of this conversation.
On that note, we actually saw an act of violence against a Muslim woman in a headscarf here at the DNC this week. I don't know if you saw the video. There was
I forgot to bring that up yesterday, but yeah, one of the delegates at the DNC who was Muslim got beaten with one of the Kamala Harris signs at the event. Insane stuff.
a guy with an I love Joe Biden flagpole on tape on Monday night, I think it was, leant forward and hit a protester who was peacefully, quietly just unfurling a
delegate, a Harris delegate.
Hit her on the head. I'm amazed that that person hasn't been found, hasn't been banned, hasn't been suspended, hasn't been asked to leave. I mean, we've just normalized Islamophobia and anti-Arab hate, as Leila pointed out. How is that? I can't imagine any other community, any other minority, religious or racial, that happening on camera, in prime time, in an arena, and there's no outcry, no condemnation from the DNC leadership, no punishment.
I mean, to be clear, I don't know who the delegate was that had the sign. I don't even think they may even know, but I do want to share this because I think this is the part that keeps getting missed in these viral videos and polarization, increased polarization. Because to Leila's point, the reason Uncommitted is so powerful is it showed, not just told, about what people were feeling when it came to the presidential cycle in a way that could not be spun away in key swing states. That's what makes this so powerful. And the reason we are worried, and to your point about the convention, is that, again, the biggest applause lines were when we heard about a ceasefire. If you walk through the halls of the convention, so many, I would say the majority of people are wearing kufiyas, are wearing Uncommitted paraphernalia, they've got pins, they've got flags, they've got, I mean, I have never, ever, I'm 31 years old, I have never seen this kind of care for Palestinians in my entire life. And so the part that I don't understand is that we're...
Here, I found the video.
What is that told? Who will we have to meet?
Can you actually hear it?
moment we had to meet was, as I told you then.
Yeah, just look at that. This guy is leaning down over an entire row of people to smash that delegate in the head.
The moment we had to meet was, as I told you then, which are a peril and possibility. Peril. The moment we had to meet.
Absolutely insane.
The moment we had to meet.
Yeah, you can hear it. That's crazy. Do you know how loud something has to be for you to hear it in a packed stadium from this far away on a cell phone, like camera recording? Like, my goodness. They still haven't found that guy.
We're allowing that image to take hold about the DNC when we literally
the actual
have
base is on site.
Exactly, literally.
I was just
tens
on my
of
way here from
thousands.
the United Center and someone stopped me and said, please keep speaking for Palestine, a delegate.
Exactly.
So then there's a disconnect, right? This is why American democracy is in trouble, where it's not just Palestine, there's multiple issues where the public are in one place and the elected representatives are in another, partly because of lobby groups, partly because of other interests. But you're optimistic, Adaf. I get a sense from you that you're still optimistic.
Well,
Or hopeful. It's a different thing.
I tell you what. I think Rua and Layla are here, right? And I'm here. I was in the hall the last 2 nights. It's electric.
Yeah.
People are so excited. I'm so grateful to Joe Biden that he stepped aside after that disastrous debate. I think he did, I have many problems with, especially about certain foreign policy things, but I was so proud to serve with him in the 117th Congress and all the legislation we passed on climate change, which is getting way too little attention here, climate change, and, investing in America and blah, blah, blah. But to be a Palestinian American here and all that electricity and excitement and this first Indian American black woman president ever, you're not part of it.
Yeah,
You're somehow, why aren't we part of that? I think that's very upsetting to people. And I think a lot of delegates, the very people crying such real tears over, imagine the pain of a parent, with a 23-year-old son who's been, in captivity. That's a war crime, for 300, however many days. And then your pain isn't part of it too. And I don't understand how that helps the party. I don't think it helps the party.
I don't think it helps.
I think it's not a good idea.
Before we run out of time later, where does Uncommitted go from here? From Chicago?
That's an excellent question.
We were really hoping to leave Chicago and be able to mobilize voters, especially in key swing states like Michigan. So we have that fighting chance in November. In all honesty, we will continue talking about the dangers of a Trump presidency because we know what that's going to mean, not just for us here that are organizing and advocating for human rights for Palestine, but we know how much worse it's going to be for Palestinians. We already know that Donald Trump uses Palestinian
Can we take a moment? So much respect to these organizers for the Uncommitted movement because they understand the political reality. And the political reality is that Donald Trump will be worse in every conceivable way for Palestinian Americans and also Palestinians living in the occupied territories, right? They understand that. But they also understand the very real problem of mobilizing voters. Because a lot of voters aren't going to be moved by Trump bad rhetoric. They're not going to be moved by that because, frankly, they look at it and they see, both candidates aren't going to do much for me, so, I'm going to stay home, or I'm going to vote for Jill Stein because I just can't stomach voting for Kamala Harris. Someone who might not do anything about this horrific genocide. And while I disagree with that stance, it's also not a stance that can really be argued with that much. At least successfully. I can list a bunch of reasons why Trump would be worse than Harris when it comes to this particular issue, but that's not going to move someone who feels like who might feel like if they vote for Kamala Harris, they're voting for more of their people being killed and slaughtered. Like it is like I think that the best thing to do is to vote for Harris, but like that's not going to be a compelling argument for a lot of people. A lot of Palestinian Americans, a lot of allies of Palestinian Americans, a lot of people who are disillusioned with the political process. And that's what makes the DNC snub so much worse here. Because these are people who are Democrats and who are willing to work towards mobilizing people who might not otherwise be willing to turn out. And to that group of people, the friendliest people to them, they gave them a very firm, go fuck yourselves. And now these people are left in the lurch, and like they're like, well, we'll tell people that Donald Trump is going to be bad, but we're also going to tell you right here, right now, that that's not going to be enough for a lot of the folks who were expecting us to be able to take something back to them after the DNC. And that's on the DNC.
Like it's an ethnic slur.
Yes.
We know that he has promised his mega donors to annex the West Bank, where my family is currently lives, to be part of Israel.
Jared's got his eyes on.
Yeah.
The reason, by the way, the reason Donald Trump has been all over Miriam Adelson is because she gave him a ton of money. I think it was over $100 million she's funneling to his campaign, because he committed to her that he would allow Israel to annex the entirety of the West Bank. So,
property in Gaza.
He literally, when he was during his administration, he moved the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, a direct attack on Palestinian right to self-determination.
Oh yeah, my rear end, absolutely. You can argue against voting for Jill Stein. Jill Stein is like funded by the Russian government and is basically a psyop to sow discord in American politics. But like, I'm not going down that rabbit hole right now.
And we know that he's already said in Project 2025 that the type of work.
The main thing I will say is just that like third party politics in America don't work and won't ever work until we get a ranked choice voting system in every state in the country. Until that time, power just consolidates into the Democrats and the Republicans. That's just mathematically how that works out. In fact, just real quick, Veritasium, the YouTube channel Veritasium, actually just put out a very, very interesting video about the mathematics of voting systems. And I would highly recommend you guys check it out. It's a very, very informative video that provides a very succinct and good explanation of how ranked choice voting works and why it is better than a first past the post system. But also talks about some of the issues mathematically when it comes to a lot of different voting systems. And I think it's worth knowing all of those things. Good video. I would watch it with you guys and talk about it more in depth, except I'm pretty sure that they copyright their videos. So just want to shout it out. It's a good video.
That I'm doing, that the Uncommitted movement is doing, is going to be movements that are going to be
Amanda
criminalized.
Smash, how you doing?
So we know how much worse it's going to be, not just for us, but the communities we love and care about.
But a lot of liberals in that convention center, a lot of blue, no matter who partisans will say, but you're to blame if he wins.
No.
That's what they'll say.
Asking our electeds and our candidates for presidency to listen to the core base of their voters.
Well, it's Bianca Toth. It's not that we can never have a multi-party system. It's that mathematically what most states have is what's called first past the post voting. And that mathematically tends to, over time, boil down to two main consolidated parties. If you want a different outcome, if you want like a multi-party system, then what we need to do is to organize on a local and state level and build power to get ranked choice voting. And that is something that multiple states have now adopted. So the issue is, if that's like your desired outcome, you need to organize to that outcome outside of just the every 4 years presidential election cycle, because the presidential election cycle isn't where you're going to get like third-party breaks, really. What you need to do is build local and statewide power first in order to achieve the transition to ranked choice voting. And then when enough states have that ranked choice voting system, multi-party systems will be viable. So it's not that it's impossible for us to have multi-party systems, it's just impossible for us to have it right now unless we organize to that end. If we organize, anything is possible. If we organize, we can get Medicare for all. If we organize, we can get worker ownership of the means of production. We can do all kinds of amazing things, but only if we organize.
Which 86% of Democratic voters want a permanent immediate ceasefire. And I think it's 53% want conditioning on funding to Israel. People do not want to see our tax dollars being used to kill innocent men, women, and children.
But at the end of the day, come November, Kamala Harris does not shift on this.
That is something that she has to answer to. When has...
Will you vote for her in November if she doesn't shift?
Right now, I need to see a policy change.
I think asking someone from the Uncommitted movement if they're going to commit to voting for Kamala Harris is an inherently funny question to ask, and I appreciate that Mehdi Hassan asked it.
Change how she's going to protect people that I love and care about. And I cannot recommend a vote for her in this moment. Right now.
You're an activist and organizer.
Yeah, but I know how dangerous Trump is.
Rora's an elected Democrat. And I asked you at the beginning, and I'll ask you again as we wrap up. Somebody comes to you and says, how are you voting? I'll follow your lead.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that I wish people followed my lead when it comes to voting. That's why we're here. That's why we are raising the alarms. I mean,
Boy, howdy, it'd be so much easier to organize if people did.
You know, we might be in two different places, but again, I'm an elected official. I am around a very different group of people, and so where my mind is very different. But I do know for a fact, if I texted the WhatsApp groups that I'm in right now, and I said, I need you to vote for Kamala Harris after what just happened this week, they're literally gonna tell me I have no shame. And the thing is, the point of this week was to try to reduce that anger. It was because
it would have been a very different WhatsApp conversation tomorrow night if you were coming off a stage having spoken about your grandfather.
But I want to make this note, because I feel like nobody is talking about this. In 2016, a very sophisticated mis- and disinformation campaign effectively suppressed the vote. There is the same kind of suppressive campaign happening right now online using this very issue because it is very real and it is very visceral. And
She is making an incredibly good point here. And that also plays into what I was talking about earlier in stream about how you need to be aware of where you're getting your information, where you're getting your rhetoric, where you're getting your talking points, because it might turn out that you're actually getting convinced not to vote and not to turn out by Republican ad spend, by conservatives who are paying for propaganda. And I love that she's bringing this up.
it is dividing our communities, and my worry isn't just for the election, it's what's going to happen after when our party is dependent on a broad and beautiful coalition.
The broad and beautiful coalition is still fighting to survive. I think we'll leave it on that note. Andy Levin, Ruhraman, Leila Al-Abed, thank you all for coming here in Chicago. Thank you to the wonderful Oud Cafe for hosting us. Mehdi Unfiltered will be back next week.
I want to go to that cafe. It looks really good.
Please do tune in. Make sure you're subscribed to Zeteo. Thanks so much.
Folks, please go subscribe to Zeteo. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Mehdi Hassan and his team are just doing incredible work, building up the position here of frankly quality journalism. We need more of it, and my goodness, was that a necessary conversation to have? And I hope that I added context and like was able to add to that, because it's so good for more people to see this, you know? Now, folks, we've been going for about 2 hours. If you have been enjoying the show, please consider dropping those subs and donos. Hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and, you know, support the stream. We're doing an early stream today. We're not going to be streaming later, so if you want to support stream, now is the time to do it. I can't make this happen without your support. I wouldn't be able to spend hours of my time and my days covering this stuff without your support. So please consider supporting however you can. Your first piece of the soundtrack is out? Hell yeah! Bring it up on the next stream, because I have a limited amount of time. Otherwise, I would love to like dive into talking about the game more, because it sounds really cool, and I like what I've seen of it so far. Let's see. Bedtime? Good night, Fenry. Oh, my goodness. I have about an hour left. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that back crack. How we doing? How you feeling, folks? Hey, Metal Kitty Mom. Early stream? Yeah, we doing an early stream today. We might have to get ready to not have an election cycle, my opinion. Like, if Trump goes into office, we might have such a rigged election in favor of his sons or himself to the point where he... Well, yeah, no, if Donald Trump wins the election, our democracy is effectively done. But, like, preparing for that now seems a bit premature, considering the time you spend preparing for that possible eventuality would be much better spent at this juncture. Like, organizing to make sure that we win the election instead. You know? It would be a better use of your time to just avoid that outcome. Beep boop boop. All right, we finally caught up on the DNC. Let's see here.
Funds to budget accounts and activities.
Oh, that's too long. It's too long. I was going to do a Project 2025 video, but I don't think we have time for it. All right. We do have time for this, though. We also don't have time for the Ben Shapiro debunk. Sorry. What if you want 1.5 speed? No, it would still be too long. I tend to add a lot of commentary to my videos, so like I generally I'm like that 40-minute long segment is actually going to be, you know, 160 minutes. It's gonna be 2 hours of content. Yeah, but the polls are like neck and neck, and there's so much election fuckery going on from the Republicans that the margins will be too close for the Supreme Court to steal. No, just then organize to improve the margins, man. Like I don't know what to tell you. If you're already leaping to time to have an armed rebellion, like, okay, you're engaging in fundamentally different politics than I am. Like I don't think it's a useful use of your time, if that's what you truly believe, to be paying attention to the electoral outcomes. You'd be much better served by watching like militia training videos on YouTube or some shit. Go build your compound, you know? If you truly believe that the electoral situation is so fucked, like, don't be spreading that doomerism in my chat. Because frankly, we aim to do something about it. It's nice to hang out, have to head out and finish work. You have a good work day, Stereotype Steve. And hope to talk again soon. And I am doing well. I'm just goddamn busy. And I don't really get time off. It's a lot. How do you feel about the electoral situation? I think Kamala Harris is poised to do extremely well. That's how I feel about the electoral situation. I don't think that it's as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. It's not ideal, for sure. But I don't know. I don't really foresee Donald Trump doing particularly well. Like, he's currently in panic mode and extraordinarily low energy. He's clearly suffering from, like, PTSD from the attempted assassination. He's, like, trying to back out of debates. He's, like, selling trading cards in, like, the most low energy way imaginable. Like, he's not doing okay. And meanwhile, you have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who are incredibly energized. The base is really excited about them. They're hitting the rhetorical points they need to in order to get mainstream support. Right now, like, Kamala Harris has overtaken Donald Trump in the general polling of the election by like 5 or 6 points. Like, it's looking pretty okay. It's not good yet, but it's looking way better than Joe Biden was looking. Trump NFT update? Okay, we do have time for that. See here. I need it. Oh, it'll probably be on Trump's all right. Can I just say it's nice to have Donald Trump back on Twitter. Persecution of a political opponent. Oh God. It is DOJ policy that the Department of Justice should not take any action that will influence an election within 60 days of that election. But they just have taken such action. Voting starts September 6th. Therefore, the DOJ has violated its own policy. Election interference. All of these Comrade Kamala and Biden hoaxes should be immediately dismissed. God. All right.
For 45.
I don't know who this guy is, but this guy has major mass shooter energy. Just throwing that out there. All right, let's see. Is this it? No. Where is it? Show me your I love that Melania's new book is just called Melania. Are you kidding me, dog? Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. All right. Where are your NFT shillings? Dude. All right. Did he not post it? Did he only post it on Truth Social? Ah, here it is. We found it. Will Truth Social work for us? Da 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 da. There we go.
Hello, everyone. This is your favorite president, Donald J. Trump, with some very
My
exciting
favorite
news.
president.
By popular demand, I'm doing a new series of Trump digital trading cards. You all know what they are. We've had.
Oh man, I love digital trading cards. I love NFTs. Look at, finally I can get my favorite sweaty boy on digital trading cards that you can't trade to anybody.
Had a lot of.
Look at him. Look at him hold that American flag. Looking like he's never looked before.
Fun with them. It's called
the crypto president. Rawr. Trump mania. Oh, look, it's Donald Trump with a fucking halo, man.
America First collection.
We have the fight, fight, fight image card. Home of the Brave with like a
50
bison. What the hell is going on? We need to lock down these NFTs until we find out what the hell is going on.
All new stunning.
Ah, yes, the Trump card.
Digital trading cards. It's really something. These cards show me dancing and even me.
These cards show me dancing. Look at my sick moves.
Holding some bitcoins.
Dude, this is so sad. This is so sad.
Here's the best part. I'm doing great. Show me dancing and even me holding some bitcoins.
Some bitcoins.
Here's the best part. I'm doing great things for my.
Real question. Do you think that Donald Trump knows that bitcoins aren't actually coins? Like you can't physically hold a bitcoin? Do you think that he knows that? They handed me a bunch of gold doubloons and told me they were bitcoins.
My Trump digital card collectors. First, there's the real physical Trump cards.
You have to purchase 15 digital cards to receive a physical card.
Purchase 15 or more of my Trump digital trading cards and we'll mail you a beautiful physical trading card.
Why is there a number 1 in the upper right-hand corner? Why?
It's really, I think, quite something. Each physical trading card has an authentic piece of my suit that I wore for the presidential debate. And
Are they literally selling like holy relics of Donald Trump? Like this is like when they would pass around like the toe of a venerated saint and you'd like touch it and be blessed. Like we're unironically in like that type of territory where like a traveling merchant would say that they had like the skull fragment of Mary Magdalene and you'd pay him like $10 to touch it. Like we're literally in that kind of territory right now. I'm actually in awe.
And people are calling it the knockout suit. I don't know about that, but that's what they're calling it.
In your own ad, you're like, I don't know about that name. You know, they're calling it the knockout suit, but I don't know about that name.
So we'll cut up the knockout suit and you're going to get a piece of it, and we'll be randomly autographing 5 of them, a true collector's item. This is something to...
The official debate card.
give your family, your kids, your grandchildren. Number 2 is to purchase 75 of my Trump digital trading cards, and you will also be invited to join me for a gala dinner at my...
Wait, is this supposed to be him? Is this supposed to be Donald Trump? Also, who are these people? Are these billionaire donors? Like, are these like supposed to be stand-ins for you, the audience? So if you buy 75 of these cards, you get to have dinner with Donald Trump.
A beautiful country club in Jupiter, Florida. We really have tremendous dinners with my collectors. Have a lot of fun together. We're gonna have a good time.
With my collectors. All right.
I'm keeping my Trump digital trading cards at the same price of $99 each.
I'm sorry, what? You're charging $100 per NFT? You have to spend $1,500 in order to get a single physical trading card? And honestly, you're selling dinners with yourself for like $7,500? God, how fucking weird would it be if you guys donated $7,500 for me to go get dinner with Donald Trump? That would be so fucking funny. Like, I'll get, like, an undercover camera. Oh my god. Oh my god, that would be funny. Dude must be desperate for money. You know, like, you don't... Like, Democrat fundraisers just have, like, those gala dinners where it's, like, you know, $10,000 a plate. This dude's literally trying to do, like, a trading card scam. Please, stretch goals. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? If you pay $7,500, I guarantee you Donald Trump is going to show up to, like, shake hands for all of, like, 10 seconds, and then he's going to leave. You know, he doesn't want to spend time with freaks who are buying NFTs. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? You think he's going to, like, sit down and have a meal with you and, like, chat? Are you kidding me? Paladin lost, do it for the lows. God. I mean, to be fair, guys, to be fair, I have made exactly $0 on this stream, so I'm under no illusion that we're going to actually, like, get $7,500 for me to have dinner with Trump. But if I did get $7,500 to have dinner with Trump, you can bet your bootstraps I'm gonna be wearing a slutty dress, okay? I'm gonna be slutted up for that dinner, all right? Cause it would be funnier if, like, he was weird about it. But yeah, my God. Oh God, sorry, we're only halfway through this video.
We've done that right from the beginning. So go to collecttrumpcards.com. It's really easy to buy. You just need an email address.
It's really easy to buy. You just need over $100 and an email address.
And a credit card or crypto. You know, they call me the crypto president. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I don't know if that's true or not, but they call me the crypto president.
A lot of people are saying that, so don't miss out. Go to collecttrumpcards.com. Go right now.
He's literally reading the script for the first time, and he's just like, that's his genuine reaction. They call me the crypto president. I don't know if that's true or not.
And collect your piece of American history. Let's have fun together and enjoy my Trump cards. We're gonna have
Now, if he really wanted to sell these NFTs, he should sell pieces of the suit that were bloodied by the assassination attempt, okay? That's what he should really be selling. Those are true holy relics.
a lot of fun. We'll be talking about it for a long time. Thank you very much. Have a good time.
We'll be talking about it for a long time. Sure we will, bud. Sure. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That weird fucking little wink. Also, how did that boxing glove said Trump? That you punched it said knockout. Are those two different cards? Because I don't believe that you made a different asset. NFT INT LLC is not owned, managed, or controlled by Donald J. Trump, the Trump Organization, CIC Digital LLC, or any of their respective principals or affiliates. Oh, that's so crazy. Oh, they use Donald J. Trump's name, likeness, and image under paid license. Such license may be terminated or revoked according to its terms. These digital trading cards, physical trading cards, and Trump sneakers are not political and have nothing to do with any political campaign. You're literally selling debate trading cards, man. But it's not political, bro. It's not political. All right. Incredible stuff. Oh boy, WizWorld Live! Thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. How we all doing? You get gold shoes if you buy 5 cards. I don't believe that. I feel like that's too much. There's no way he would actually give you physical shoes. Maybe they're gold shoes you can put on your NFTs. Anyway, folks, we have now been going for 2.5 hours. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share the stream, and consider dropping those sweet, sweet subs and donos so that I can live and buy delicious burritos. Hey, Midas Kevin Anderson. Trump gives you a McDonald's coupon at dinner? Sweet. Do I have to look at the website? I feel like it's going to put, like, evil magic on my computer. Only $100. Oh, the low-top version of Trump Gold sneakers. Cool. That's so neat. Look at him throwing lightning. Oh, there's a platinum edition stand with Trump sneaker. God, those look hideous. God, these look so bad. Oh my god, dude. You know what would be fascinating to me? If they just applied like some kind of game mechanic to the cards, like you could play a game with them. That would just be funny. It would be like a knockoff of Magic the Gathering, except all of the cards are Trump. Man, look at these low resolution images they're using to pump up the golf club. Good job, everybody. Oh, if you buy 5 NFTs, you do get the sneakers. Okay. If you buy 9 NFTs, you get 2 pairs of sneakers. Oh, and if you buy the 15 and you get the physical card, they also send you these terrible shoes. And 2 pairs of the Trump sneakers. The gold ones. Wow, that's so cool. Oh, you also get 35 extra NFTs. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Well, there are more packages. If you buy 250 of them, you get 2 VIP dinners and 2 VIP cocktails with the president. Oh, he'll get a little tipsy with you. You get to sit at the... Wait, so if you pay $7,500, you get to go to a private dinner with Donald Trump, but you don't get to sit at the VIP table. That's reserved for... That's reserved for up to 25 people. Oh my god. This is so miserable, dude. What is this guy holding? Oh, black trumpet mushrooms with Trump wine. Oh, man. Only the worst at Trump resorts, I see. An unforgettable encounter, engaging and thankful for every minute of his time. Thank you, President Trump. I love this blurry ass image. An unforgettable night at the hashtag Collect Trump Cards VIP gala dinner at the Mar-a-Lago. We flew in from Singapore with my wife, and it was worth every moment. From the grandeur, Mar-a-Lago, to the inspiring conversations, every detail was perfect. The highlight, selfies with President Trump himself. And like, you took a selfie with President Trump and you got this blurry ass picture of... Are you kidding me? My God. Oh. Cool. Ooh. They have like 12 seconds for pics, that's why blurry. Oh yeah, for sure. He can't stand these people. These people are pores. He doesn't want to be with them. Real rich people don't have to sell NFTs.
No, she's gonna prosecute the president of the...
Wet ass P word. P word is female genitalia.
Real rich people don't even buy NFTs. It's true. Also, hello, Paladin. Okay. We have like 30 minutes. So, folks, we're gonna All right. We're going to do a speed run, okay? We're doing a speed run of a segment. Henshin a go-go, baby. All right, let's go. So there's this guy named Matt Walsh, all right? He's a real weirdo, and he's mostly known for refereeing Nazi diaper wrestling. Kind of like an adult baby fetishist of some kind. And he also hosts a show on the Daily Wire where he doesn't know what racism is or what women are, and he's very, very weird. And he decided to try and go to the DNC, and let's see what happened. Let's dive in. Let's dive into Matt's world, shall we? And I'm gonna speed it up a little bit, so he's gonna be talking a little bit fast because I don't have a whole lot of time, and we got content to go through. So let's go, folks. Who's this Matt Walsh person? Was he trying to proselytize the benefits of adult baby fetishists at the DNC? Who can say? Let's find out.
This week, I was deeply honored to attend the Democrat National Convention in Chicago. Now, before I tell you about my experiences, I want to dispel one rumor right away. There are some who assume that I only went to the DNC to shamelessly promote my new film, Am I Racist?, which premieres September 13th. Tickets are on sale now at
The answer is yes. He is racist.
amiracist.com. These people think that the entire thing was one big stunt, that I went to the DNC knowing that the left would get angry and start complaining about it on social media, thereby unwittingly helping me to advertise my film. But the whole point was to generate headlines.
I mean, people weren't really complaining that you were there. They were mostly just dunking on you for looking like a dipshit.
Lines like this in the Daily Mail. Matt Walsh enrages Democrats by crashing DNC in white dudes for Kamala Harris disguise. An article that includes a lengthy description of the film along with a link to the trailer. That's how some people see this, as some kind of low-rent gimmick to raise awareness about my film, Am I Racist? Tickets on sale now at amiracist.com. Admittedly, if that was my plan, then we'd have to say that it worked tremendously well. We sold a lot of tickets because of it, and every leftist who complained about my presence at the convention was falling directly into the trap. If there was a trap, but there wasn't, because that was not my plan. I want to be very clear at the outset that I would never dream of doing anything like that. I have too much respect for our glorious democracy to make a mockery of a political convention by using it to promote
To be clear, he also doesn't believe in democracy.
a movie. Even a movie like Am I Racist, which premieres September 13th, tickets on sale at amiracist.com. This whole thing had nothing at all to do with
Again, spoiler alert, he is indeed racist.
my film, Am I Racist?, premiering September 13th, tickets on sale at amiracist.com. So now that we've put that to rest, I'd like instead to explain why I really did attend the DNC and what I learned there. Because the honest truth is that I went to the event as part of my ongoing journey of self-discovery. And that's a journey that begins in the movie, but certainly doesn't end there. I wanted to learn how to be a better anti-racist, a better citizen, a better human being. And what better place to do that than a convention with a baby-killing bus right out front?
See, this is what I mean when I say, like, Republicans aren't interested in actual, like, facts or conversation. Like, he's as disingenuous as Charlie Kirk. Like, there's no point in platforming or engaging with people like this outside to dunk on them, outside to make it very clear that they are pitifully evil and disgusting people. That's it. You know, like, having him on your show and being cordial with him, don't do that. Stop it.
Now, I realize, of course, that elephant in the room here, no pun intended, that I am not a popular figure in Democratic circles. I would go so far as to say that many of these people have a negative view of me. But
well, you know, Matt, why would that be? You're such a nice guy. Why would people have a negative view of you, Matt? Why would people have a negative view of you? I just, why would people have a negative view of you, Matt Walsh, when you're just such an upstanding individual? You know, why would people disagree with your political stances when they include something like defending someone who was caught with child pornography and who admitted to sexually assaulting his siblings? Why would people consider you a bad person for defending those types of actions, Matt? You know, it's especially weird when Matt Walsh writes I know I'm opening myself up to serious criticism here, but let me be honest with you. If my own son, God forbid, came to me and admitted to doing what Josh Duggar did, which, to be clear, was molesting his sisters and seeking out child pornography, I don't know that I'd immediately run to the cops. Would you? Is it really that simple? The decision to have your child arrested as a sex offender would be an automatic thing for you? Really? I guess I'm just a horrible person then. And the answer is yes. You are just a horrible person, Matt. You literally wrote, as a father, maybe you weren't the father at the time. You're a father now. But you wrote that if your son raped your daughters, you wouldn't report it to the police. Because it wouldn't be fair for him to be labeled as a sex offender. Yeah, that's covering up your son's rapes would make you a terrible person, yes. Allowing your other children to be endangered by that rapist you spawned would be bad, yeah, actually. Yeah, Matt Walsh, I violate my children's consent all the time, Walsh. Yeah. Super not sussy at all.
I also knew that Democrats value tolerance above all. They embrace diversity. They have a welcoming and loving attitude towards everyone. And I took great solace in that. And I knew that I would be greeted with the same spirit, a spirit of joy and welcoming, especially because I was attending the event in my man bun and my White Dudes for Harris shirt, which was my way of signaling that I'm a member of the tribe. I'm a safe person to have in their safe space. But this wasn't just about bettering myself, I should say. I also wanted to alert the attendees to one of the greatest dangers lurking in the world today, Project 2025. Now, everybody's heard of Project 2025 at this point, but nobody really knows what it is. And the people at DNC especially don't know what it is, which is why I brought some literature to educate them on the subject. And we'll have more on that in a few minutes. But first, I'll show you the wonderful conversation that I had with somebody shortly after I arrived at the convention on our first day. And this was a lovely woman with pink hair and a COVID mask. We dialogued about many important issues, including racial justice. I thought it was a great conversation. Here's a quick snippet of that.
So are you partisan?
Well, we're partisan for the truth. Is what we're partisan
right,
for.
nice. I like that. Partisan for the truth. That's
even I'm wearing a Kamala Harris hat.
Right, I know. Right.
It's not partisan. But I'm advocating for her in like a nonpartisan way.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't vote for Kamala Harris and Trump gets in, these policies get implemented.
That's all. We got to stop Trump.
Kamala's going to get in. You know, it's good. It's going to happen. But
fingers crossed.
Right, fingers crossed.
You know,
but if she doesn't, right. But if she doesn't, again, they're going to continue to try pushing.
If racial justice is a particular focus of mine, is that important to you in your personal life, to decolonize, decenter your whiteness?
Hands down, absolutely. And everything you do, you have to think about.
How do you do that on a daily basis? You get up in the morning, you're decentering.
First of all, who has access? Who's at the table? And who's in the room?
I'm going to go a little overboard.
Yeah, go. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
If I walk into a room and there are people of color in the room, I want to literally not be in the center of the room.
Yep.
So I'm walking around the edges of the room. Just so I'm not in the center. Not everyone goes that far.
Right. And that's
super committed to it.
I mean, I walk in a room, I'm white, but I'm also an anti-Zionist Jew of Ukrainian descent. I'm also a lesbian. I also, identify as a dyke. So like all those things.
You got a couple more.
But
I only got the exact points, but you have a couple more points.
Right, so you have to be there.
I have no points.
Well, no, but you have a say. And also, if you're not fighting for reproductive justice as a man, especially as a straight man, that's some work to do, right? Yeah.
I look around this place, there's too many white people.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Too many white
But a lot of black women who are organizing, and they always have.
The white people are walking through.
Right.
Because the black women set it up, the white people show up.
But this is an elite scenario here.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's just like anybody can come, but really.
Hey, just real quick, fun fact in case you missed this. Matt Walsh has said a lot of things in the past, and I imagine this is only tangentially related. I'll admit it. He's talked about 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds being the most fertile. He's agreed with people saying that girls that age have a need to breed. He agreed with someone who said that to him. He said, "Oh yeah, sure." And I think it's particularly problematic because obviously he's talking about how underage children have a need to breed. He's talked about underage girls being married being a good thing, and he wrote a blog a while back wherein he attacked the concept of adolescence writing, in modern Western society, we've delayed the onset of adulthood, instead inventing a new sort of human, the teenager. The teenager exists in this limbo which we've created. We call it adolescence. Adolescence is a state-of-the-art modern innovation, like crack cocaine and chemical warfare. Adolescence isn't just a product of brain chemistry, it's a product of our expectations. If we expect 23-year-olds to act like they're 13, then we will get just that. For thousands of years, 13-year-olds were expected to act like they're 23, and those expectations were met. And I think when you combine these two different things that he said, you get some pretty, horrible conclusions as to what he's arguing for and to what he believes. Just throwing that out there.
Can they? Do they feel like they're welcome?
Well, it's great talking
All
to
right,
you.
yeah, you too, you too.
Thank
Take it
you,
easy.
thank you, yeah.
We'll do the shake thing.
Well, yeah, because with the mask, I don't want to.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
Okay, all right. That was a great discussion. We seem to be on the same page. Left on good terms. And I was excited to walk around the convention, talk to many more people, many of them also wearing pink hair and COVID masks. But unfortunately, after talking to one person and having a completely civil and intelligent conversation, you just saw it, and even, dare I say, becoming best friends, I was nonetheless reported to security and escorted from the building and told that I'm banned for the rest of the week just because of that conversation.
So I've been requested to escort you out and ask you to leave, and in the process, we're going to need the wristbands back as well.
Yeah, why? Why are they kicking me out?
The people running the event is requesting that. So this is an event run by the organization.
Because it's a private event and they can deny you entrance for any reason. Like that's why.
And they want you out.
Well, they didn't give a reason?
What's that?
They didn't give a reason?
They don't need to give me a reason.
All right, I wasn't causing scenes, being very friendly.
I understand. Anything you want to say part of the escort? All right, cool. Let's go ahead, escort him out.
Okay. I got the T-shirt for the event.
I understand.
So, all right.
You have to leave the premises, and we also need your wristbands back too.
So we're able to come back tomorrow, or is this a one-day thing? I'm going to defund the police until they're calling the police, huh?
All right, guys. They're requesting you don't come back for the rest of the week at this location, all right?
For the whole week?
The whole week.
And they didn't say what I did wrong?
They don't need to. All right. Because you're a good day. Please don't come back.
Why is he posting his L's like this? Unironically, like the like it's so easy for security to look like the assholes in these situations, and yet in this particular one, they're just like, we don't need to give you a reason. It's a private event. Bye, loser. Like actual king shit. Please don't come back.
Have a good day. Please don't come back. What did I do to deserve that treatment? I came to learn, grow as a person and an ally. Instead, I was thrown out into the...
You clearly didn't. You know, you literally think 13-year-olds should be treated as adults in all things. So, you know, I think your opinion and your bad faith can be discarded.
To the cold? And why did they treat me like that? What did I do wrong? What were they...
You're deeply weird and unlikable. That's what you did wrong. You just completely lack the riz, man.
Trying to tell me. You know, they said, please don't come back. But I knew that there must be a deeper message. I thought about it, and I realized that don't come back must have meant don't go back to who you were before. Don't become your old self again. You know, they weren't saying don't come back physically to the convention. They were speaking metaphorically, poetically. I realized. So later that night, I did go back. Only this time, I learned a valuable lesson. If you want to be welcomed in left-wing spaces, it's important to not talk to anyone or express any point of view at all at any point. And I knew that everything would be fine if I just walked on the convention floor and blended in with the crowd. In fact, you can see here in the footage that I'm not causing any trouble. I'm just not talking to anyone. I'm not creating a scene.
He's just being disingenuous and I guess deciding to film himself trespassing. That's a bold choice.
Walking around, sitting, listening, applauding. Everything was fine. Everything was going well. But then as I was venturing around and taking in the sights, I may have accidentally, entirely unintentionally, through no fault of my own, stumbled right into the middle of a CNN interview with Senator Chuck Schumer. Watch.
Hey, just as an FYI, if you film yourself doing a crime, you probably shouldn't post it on the internet. You probably shouldn't post evidence of yourself committing a crime, which trespassing is actually a crime. When you get kicked out of an event and they tell you don't come back, and then you come back, you're trespassing.
Work with all kinds of people, and she was effective in getting things done. One of the things she pushed, which we succeeded in, was $35 insulin for senior citizens. Now we're going to get it for everybody.
What's your response when Trump takes credit of that?
Trump takes credit for so many things he doesn't do and gets the blame for a lot of things he does do. He's lost his bearings, as we can see, day by day.
Senator Chuck Schumer, I know you've got a lot to do on the convention floor. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Great to see you.
Anderson, back to you.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Scott. I interrupted you.
So I know you might see me walking in the direction of the live shot, plodding right through it, staring at the camera, then turning around and walking back in the same direction, then turning around and walking through the shot again for a third time. And you see that, and you think that this was some ridiculous, immature, intentional attempt to photobomb Chuck Schumer. And frankly, I'm offended by the mere suggestion. First of all, I'm in the media. I'm a professional. Okay, I would never photobomb anyone. Second, once again, I'm there to learn. Third, I've never been on the
You're not about photobombing. You're about firebombing. Am I right?
convention floor before. I didn't know where I was. I was confused. I didn't know where to go. Okay, so that was happening there. Now, regardless, this clip made its way to Twitter, and next thing you know, other people on the convention floor were taking pictures and posting angrily about my presence. A reporter from Bulwark approached and asked if I was Matt Walsh, and he recounts this exchange in an article on the site. Quote, Walsh regularly dons a similar disguise to film gotcha moments for his documentaries lampoon.
Oh, by the way, just as an FYI, I wasn't kidding about the firebombing thing.
We had Bill Press on the show, what was that, Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday, how the radical right has poisoned America's airways.
And to show our appreciation of Bill Press's work, we're going to burn his book. This is what we're going to do. This is what we think of liberals, Bill Press.
This is what rednecks do when rednecks don't like you. Light it on fire, Matt Walsh.
All your liberal talkings and your liberal,
your readings,
liberal this and that. We're going to burn your damn book.
If our dumb redneck asses could learn how to light it on fire, you just don't judge us for this.
How'd the Nazis do this?
You wait until we learn how to use fire. We're gonna burn our damn fingers off. Oh, there we go. Woo! There's you some taxation.
The next time you
That's right, Bill Press.
Screw you. I forgot that fire needs oxygen.
How you like that?
Should have thought about this before we lit it on fire. God damn. Watch yourself now, boy.
It's a beautiful sight.
Look at it.
Seeing liberal propaganda burn.
Look at it. It's beautiful.
It smells like dying hippies.
Hey now.
We'll see who cancels.
Intern B, let's throw you in there too.
No need to kill the hippies. The good folk. Smells like global warming.
Someone give me an environmental activist to burn.
You know, just casually talking about burning people alive. Classic comedy, man. Just classic comedy.
This is actually awesome.
Don't let it come back up now.
Hey, I guess what Bill Press had to say in this book was rather inflammatory. Whoa.
It answered a lot of burning questions. His words of hate really fired me up. Oh.
You've seen... Yeah?
My God, what a beautiful sight.
I feel evil.
Now someone give me a Koran.
Racist, sexist,
liberal,
Republican.
burn.
These words are virtually interchangeable.
Takes a while to burn books.
Yeah, it does. It really is surprising. Oh, now. He wants revenge. That's all right.
I want to thank Bill Press for a lovely interview, by the way.
Very professional.
Imagine being this bad at burning a book. Can we like... Can we just like take a moment to like appreciate that these people are so incompetent with their hatred that they literally can't figure out how to light a book on fire? Anyway.
Including progressives. For that reason, it wasn't difficult to recognize him, even on the crowded convention floor. I asked him if he was Matt.
What was that noise at the end? They're doing Native American parody sounds.
This is cursed, so I am paying you to watch it.
Story the Bard, thank you for the $80 dono. First dono of the stream, only dono of the stream. Thank you for the $80 dono, and I will click on this.
Favorite.
It's 2 minutes long. I can do this. I can do this just real quick.
A message from the 45th President of the United Ponds of America.
Let's make fishing great again, okay?
He's here, everyone's favorite fish, Trump.
Is this real? Is this like Trumpy Bear all over again?
Trumpy Trout.
No one has ever seen a fish like me.
Trumpy.
Serious question. Serious question. Is this not copyright infringement? Is this not copyright infringement on the Fishman series? What's it called? What is the name of it? The Fishman series. No, I was making a joke, but the joke doesn't work if I can't remember what it's called. No, not Billy Bass. It was by the Church Militant when they had a YouTube channel. Oh God, what is it? It's the Holy Mackerel. Thank you. Is this not copyright infringement of Holy Mackerel? Is this not? Are we? Look, we're gonna do a little bit of an inception right now, okay? We're about to do a little. We're about to do a little Inceptionino, okay? Please, for the love of God. Wait, did they take all the videos down? No! No! Wait. Okay, wait. Nope. Nope. It's still here. It's still here. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Anyway, this was a long-running series made by the Church Militant to propagandize about how you shouldn't be eating meat on certain days. We'll at one point we will actually watch all of these. But until then, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Oh, those lips though. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Whoever made this, guys, I'm like ping-ponging so hard right now. Like the design of this is clearly sexual, right? Like whoever made the mouth of this absolutely was like, yeah, we want to make sure it's about the dimensions for fitting a dick in. Like, that was clearly intentional, right? Like, there's no way getting around it. Like, this was intended for, like, the top of, like, a fleshlight. Anyway.
Trumpy Trout is an animatronic talking fish with a big personality.
I am the hugely bigliest fish in the pond.
Watch his fins
Oh, yeah. Tell me how big you are.
flap and his large mouth move as he makes speech after speech in high-fidelity sound.
Some bass, a bad fish, crazy fish, criminal fish, and druggy fish. But some bass are good fish, and I only love some of them.
Mount him to your wall or use the built-in stand to display him proudly on your desk. Now
you can have him be weirdly racist towards fish.
you'll never miss a Trumpy Trout
Those flaps were made for gripping. Oh, God.
rally.
I'm building a new pond, and the bass will pay for it.
Set him to motion activated to surprise his fans. Fans.
Wait, so in the lore of Trumpy Trout, the bass are Mexicans? Like they're I'm just trying to understand. Like, clear the bass are gonna pay for a new pond. Clearly, that they're an allegory for like Mexico. Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! That guy is smiling way too much. He's smiling way too much about this Trumpy Trout.
Fins are big. I have the biggest fins. No fish have fins like me.
Or turn him on and let his inspiring
Or maybe don't turn him on. Maybe don't. Allow him to go flaccid and inert, okay? Maybe choose that route, okay? This is why the aliens will destroy us all.
words delight the crowd.
All the fish.
What crowd? Why are you having crowds of people in your house to look at your weird animatronic sex doll of Donald Trump as a fish?
Love Trumpy. They just love me.
Catch Trumpy Trout for yourself or someone you love.
Oh, they can try, but they can't. They just can't.
Treat yourself to this limited edition Trumpy Trout for just $59.99.
It's $60? Why? Who would buy this? What are you doing?
It comes with your official Make Fishing Great Again certificate of authenticity.
It's not a thing for fishing, though. You can't take that with you fishing. You're not making fishing... I have so many problems with this. Why would a fish want to make fishing great again? Fishing murders fish. Why would you be at... It's literally unintentionally reinforcing the fascist death cult mentality in the stupidest possible way. Oh my God. I also really hate that it's encouraging... Run your fingers through his hair. You know, it allows for more gripability when you're doing the unspeakable.
Order right now and we'll instantly upgrade you to the deluxe version with desktop stand and
There's a deluxe version? Does it have more depth? And a vibration function?
Trumpy Trout jingle free.
He is the greatest trout without a doubt, the biggest fish.
And for even more fun, we'll give you a discount.
I can't do it, man. This is breaking me. This is
version with desktop stand and Trumpy Trout jingle free.
He is the greatest trout without a doubt, the biggest fish.
And for even more fun, we'll give you a discount when you buy more than one.
We got the shoreline secure.
Why would you buy more than one? Under what circumstances do you need more than what? Under what circumstances, number one, do you need one of these? And number two, under what circumstance do you need to buy these in bulk?
No bass in this pond.
Supplies are limited, so don't miss your chance to hook the greatest fish of all time.
I am the greatest trout, and there is no doubt.
This is a limited edition collectible from Top Dog Direct. Order now at TrumpyTrout.com. That's TrumpyTrout.com.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Hey, stop shaming me for my choice to get sucked off by a Trump trout. I'm sorry for engaging in kink shaming. I apologize. Whomst among us has not? After this segment is over, you all better, like, drop subs and donos for the amount of mental anguish I have gone through to provide you guys content. Oh my god. I didn't realize I could vomit out of my pores. Yeah, that's your body trying desperately to escape. I believe we have just collectively encountered what's called an info hazard. Just knowing it exists harms us. All right, this is when they talk about the dangers of forbidden knowledge. This is exactly what they mean. God, now you finally know what true eldritch horror is. We have scaled our own mountain of madness. Kiwi Bird, thank you for gifting a sub over on Twitch. I appreciate it. Thank you for being the second person to support stream today. Good God, dude.
Walsh. No, I'm not, he said after a wide-eyed look. When I followed up with, I know it's you, he replied, that man is dead. I'm a new man now.
How long do you think before OnlyFans? You and I both know that if Trumpy Trout gets used in that way, it's going to get used on OnlyFans.
Now, I can confirm that that is an accurate quote, and it was true. I was a new man. The security guard told me not to go back to my old ways, to change myself, to be transformed. He didn't say that exactly, but that was his point, right? That's what he was trying to say, and so I took it to heart. Nonetheless, next thing you know, I was trending on Twitter on a night that was supposed to be Michelle and Barack's big night, which is really embarrassing for me. And lots of angry tweets were posted like this.
I apologize for nothing, Ms. Molina.
This one. Fam, Matt Walsh is at the Dem convention posing as a delegate. Do not talk to him. Call him out. Tell security if you can. Please reshare to spread the word. Hate monger. Fake. Loser. Now, there were hundreds of other tweets along these lines. And the Democrats were frantically warning each other about me. They were on the lookout. My man bun was suddenly like the dorsal fin in Jaws. I was the monster from the deep, swimming through the crowd of people. And they were on edge.
Wait, shouldn't a man bun at the DNC not really stand out? Like, isn't that kind of the purpose of a disguise?
Nervous. They were very unhappy to have me there. And the outrage continued on social media long into the night, well after the event had concluded for the evening. And I have to tell you that I don't usually get this vulnerable on the show, but I left that night feeling defeated. All I wanted to do was learn and evolve and become a better ally. I didn't want any attention. It's the last thing that I wanted. And I didn't want to cause any problems. Again, I certainly didn't want to draw attention to myself, or least of all my movie, Am I Racist, premiering September 13th. Tickets on sale at MIRacist.com.
Honestly, Matt Walsh just needs to like suck it up and make a movie titled "Am I an Ephebophile?" Because the answer to that seems to be yes from all of his public statements.
So I didn't sleep much that night. I was tossing and turning, struggling with feelings of rejection. Would I ever be accepted as an ally? Would these people ever welcome me into their fold? That's what I was asking myself. Well, the next morning, I knew what I had to do. I'd already been kicked out and banned from the premises once. I'd been caught accidentally on national TV. I was trending. People were angry. They didn't want me there. That was clear. And I was going to respect that. I was not going to go back to the convention. So instead, my whole team went back. And they dressed in Kamala Harris gear, got new wristbands because the old ones had been confiscated by security, and spent the afternoon handing out hundreds of flyers to the people at the convention. I knew that I couldn't be there in person, but I still needed to get the message out. That's how committed I was. I needed to warn the convention attendees about the radical Project 2025 agenda. They might not welcome me, but I still care about them. I am concerned for their safety. So I had to let them know that.
Oh yeah, Ich bin dead. Matt Walsh made a new documentary called "Am I Racist?" which The answer is yes. So like, it's such a weird rhetorical.
Truth about Project 2025, one way or another. Now, I had been able to hand out a bunch of the cards myself, as you can see here, the day before, but I wanted my team to pass out hundreds more. I said, go and get these hundreds of them, get them circulating all throughout the entire convention. Get a card in every person's hand. That's how important this is. And the cards all had a simple message, which was visit project2025.com to learn the truth about Trump's radical plans for America. In fact, one of my producers, Ben, who also appears in the movie, Am I Racist?, premiering September 13th, had a chance to give a card to Don Lemon and was even interviewed about the website by Don. Watch.
And learn a little bit more about Trump's absolutely radical. So we're asking people, you can't comment. No, but if you go to that website, you'll find out a lot more. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, I want you all to go to project2025.com yourself to read all of this important information. But for your edification,
You gave him a card that gives him that he doesn't know what the website is, and you misrepresented it. Haha, good joke.
I'll tell you what's on the site, and you can see it here. It's beautifully designed. This is cutting-edge graphic design, the most beautiful website that you'd ever find in 1997. And right in the middle of the page is a trailer for my new film, Am I Racist?, premiering September 13th. From there, you can click a link to find out about our next meeting, which takes you to a page to buy tickets for the film. If you click where it says Mega DEI-ference, it will also take you to a page to buy tickets. Most of the links actually just take you to a page to buy tickets. Although, if you click the audio link on the site, it takes you here. Because I don't know why that's there. Anyway, you get the idea. You know, it's all there, and it all promotes my movie.
Wait, Matt Walsh has a black employee? Yeah.
And, you know, you might argue that this has nothing to do with Project 2025, but I would disagree, because the best way to fight Project 2025, whatever the hell it is
it 2006 again? Yeah, these guys never moved beyond, like, the 1980s. Like, their ideology is still stuck in Reaganite era racism, sexism, homophobia, and bigotry, you know?
Is to see my movie, Am I Racist?, premiering September 13th. So my journey at the DNC may have been rough at certain points. There were some speed bumps along the way, as there always is when you're learning. But in the end, I think we all came to understand each other. We grew together. We became better people. And now I know one simple truth, and it's the same truth that everyone at the DNC now knows too, that Am I Racist? Premieres September 13th, and tickets are on sale at amiracist.com or project2025.com.
I can't wait to see this movie and give you guys a review.
Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to
You know, I thought maybe he might be trying to infiltrate the DNC to, like, do something, like, more nefarious. But it was really, like, honestly, this is probably the least evil and least vile thing Matt Walsh has done in a long time. He's still a bad person, though, who supports having sex with children and covering up rape and burning books and you know, generally supports any and all kinds of bigotry, because he's, you know, a fascist. Matt Walsh wants to be Borat so bad, but he's not only not funny, he is like the most boring iteration of Borat. That's true. Why do they insist on cell phones? Because it's all they have. Because when you play the victim to the extent that conservatives do, like, you really got to play it up, and at a certain point, it's all you have left. Folks, we've now been going for over 3 hours. If you've been enjoying the show, hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, like the goddamn YouTube stream, and consider dropping those sweet, sweet subs and donos, because I rely on your support to make a living, to make this show. I could not do it without you guys. This show is literally brought to you by viewers like you, so consider supporting the stream today. Remember the Matt Walsh as a baby plushie? Boy, do I. So, yeah. How we doing? All right, folks. I did an early stream today because I have to go. I have to go. I have to pull myself away from you fine folks, and I'm gonna go celebrate my partner's birthday. I made her a lot of really delicious food, and also like gonna be gonna be doing presents and stuff, and it's gonna be a good night. But I hope you all enjoyed the show, and I hope CLARISSE, Lady Raincloud, but close. Yeah, happy birthday to my favorite person in the whole wide world. Hey, Gamer G. Hey. No, it's all good. It's all good, Lady Raincloud. Last call for subs and donos. Last call for liking the stream. Last call for hitting the follow button. And of course, that out. Let's do that. All right. Let's raid you guys into. We're no strangers to love. Know the rules, and so do I. Full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Ooh, give you up. Ooh, give you up. Never gonna give you up. All right. We're raiding into Tina 2. Go be nice, be cool, be chill. And well, Zero, I just turned 33. Thanks for the chuckles. You're very welcome, Sean Davis. Hope to see you all back here real soon. Y'all have a good evening, all right? Bye. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna give you up. Known each other for so long. You know the rules, and so do I. Just say it. Full commitment's what I'm thinking of. Wouldn't get this from any other guy. I wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand.